Oh, I had you muted there, but okay. I think we're good.
Classic mistake.
Gotta keep that noob in his place.
Hey now.
All right. How you doing today, son?
I'm doing all right. All right.
All
No
right.
complaints.
We got a lot of talk. Yeah. That was interesting. We have a lot to talk about today. Apparently, I'm not warmed up quite enough. I haven't.
Yeah. Did you get it all out?
Yeah,
Come on,
I
just
don't
a
think
couple
so.
more,
I think
couple
there's
more.
still more in there. It's gonna be an
Oh,
interesting
yeah.
stream today. I'm working on about 20 hours of sleep all week, so yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough ride this week, but I'm excited for the stream. I'm excited to get into the noob versus pro accounts and show them off and have some good discussions, because there's a lot that we got to talk about with the fusion event going on, all of the champions that have been introduced to the game, and then also we've got some other odds and ends here that are kind of exciting. There have been some changes to Mythic shards. Did you hear about the changes?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so apparently Plarium has made some changes to Mythic shards already, and we need to discuss whether or not that's going to impact us in any way. So I'm interested to see if the changes are actually live during this 2x event. So I'm going to go in here and check the Mercy system.
Yeah, you got me curious now.
Let's see what the Mercy system says. Yeah, so they've made the change. The change is live here. So if you go to the Mercy system for primal shards, you'll notice that the Mercy system chance increase is now 10% per shard. It was 1% per shard before. So they have changed it for primal shards. Yeah, for mythical champions. So it's still 200 summons without a mythical that you have to go through, which is ridiculous. So it's still awful. It's still awful. But they went from a 1% chance per shard to 10% chance. Now, I think the most important thing about this is that I don't know if it was last week or the week before on our stream, we were talking about the power of the player base to like cause Plarium to change its monetary policies. We had a big discussion about it. We were talking about how, monetization in games has gotten incredibly predatory, and that the only way for us to fight that is for people who typically spend to voice their disapproval with their wallets, to stop spending on the game and to maybe move away from the game or just put a boycott on spending. And so that's clearly happened. And, there have been a lot of videos in the past couple of weeks about whales leaving the game, Krakens leaving the game, whales and Krakens pulling back on the spending. I've heard it from Scratch. I've heard it from Hell Hades. I've heard it from a lot of the other content creators. We've had people like Mac Chan, who is a content creator and a self-proclaimed whale. He's stepped back from the game. So I think that the mythical shard monetization was like the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. They just said,
too far.
Yeah, it was just a step too far. It was so aggressively punitive that everybody who spends was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I said in that video, I said in that stream, like, watch, it won't take long. In less than a month, I bet within 30 days of that video that this would change. And it's only been maybe 2 weeks. So they've changed this. Now, they've also changed something else. Now, this isn't going to affect free-to-play players the way the Mercy system might. I mean, any free-to-play player is going to have trouble even getting to that Mercy system at any point. But let's go in the shop and see if it's actually changed here. So it has. So this pack...
Yeah, I noticed they added more shards as well.
This $50 pack was originally 5 shards, not 7. So they have reduced the price per shard. So you're getting 40% more for the cost, which is about a 30% price drop, which is not bad. It's not enough. They haven't gone far enough. And I still would highly advise every Kraken and whale to keep their wallets in their holsters, right? Just hold on a little bit longer, because Plarium is clearly feeling the response from the player base. This price is still too high. these shards should probably be somewhere around $3 to $4 a shard for it to make sense with the current valuation of other shards. Now, I'll say this as a free-to-play player, those are still ridiculous prices. $3 for a shard is insane. But it's the insanity that we're used to, right? It's the insanity that paying players feel is livable. But that's still
$600 if you don't hit before you hit Mercy.
That's still $600 before you hit Mercy, right? You know, and then you need to pull at least 9 more shards. Probably, I mean, realistically, you need to pull 10 more shards. So you'd have to pull 210 shards in order to guarantee yourself a Mythic champion. So at this price, where we're looking at, let me do a little calculation here. Sometimes when I'm tired, I don't like doing the calculations in my head. So we're talking about basically $7.15 a shard right now. So if you're talking about 210 shards, it's $1,500. They've turned it into exactly $1,500 for a Mythic champion. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Like I did it in the calculator and it came out perfectly. It came out exactly $1,500 here. Now I didn't do the $49.99. I did $50, but I did $50. I just divided it by 7 and then I multiplied that by 210 and it got exactly $1,500. So they just sent a big message to all of the whales and krakens. If you want a Mythic champion, the price is $1,500 exactly. That's what it is. Now you might get lucky and you might get it in the first 10 shards, so obviously you can do that. But the maximum price for a Mythic champion at this point is now $1,500. Obviously, you can also get packs. You can get special packs that are going to reduce the price per shard here. Right? But we're looking at a situation where it's now $1,500 per Mythic champion. And that's down from a price, I think it was originally $2,000 per Mythic champion. And that was without the Mercy system. Like if you counted into the Mercy system, it could have gone up to $3,000, I think. So that's a significant reduction, but it's still absurd.
That's way too much.
It's still absurd. But the thing to take away from this is that it's worked. Right? This is what companies listen to. They listen to their bottom line. And I was watching Hell Hades' video, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, when he was talking about if Plarium's in trouble. And he was tracking like downloads and revenue. And the revenue's okay. But the new downloads are decreasing. The number of active players is decreasing. And I think they have a PR nightmare on their hands. I think all of the content creators kind of collectively went, WTF. This is insane. And they're not the only ones. They're not like, it's not like it's being led by the content creators. The content creators aren't trying to like overthrow Plarium and change the whole system. Remember, all of the content creators, including us, like we want Raid to do well. We're not trying to hurt Raid. We're not trying to hurt Plarium. We like the game and we make content on the game. We want the game to do well. It's simply a reflection of our real opinions, which is that this is absurd and that this monetization will hurt the players and therefore hurt the game, right? You're more likely to kill the game by increasing prices and making it more unfriendly than you are to like generate income. And that's what the player base has said. It says, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to step back. So I think, what's interesting is we have a 2 times Mythic or Primal Shard event right now. And this has not changed. So this is exactly the same. So if you look at this, you get a double chance at a legendary and a double chance at an epic, but the mythical is the same. Now, I think that this needs to change. I think you need to get a 2 times event that's a real 2 times event. I think that has to change. And then I think the other thing that, potentially we can look at and say, what might they change in the future if this pressure keeps up? I think this is one. I think potentially the Mercy system it's not likely to get changed a second time, but this could drop down to like 150 maybe. If they're willing to concede a little bit more ground, they might come down to 150 on the summons before you hit their Mercy Shard, but they might backtrack on this. They might say like, okay, we'll drop this to 150, but then we'll make the percentage like 8% or even, 5%. And then the other thing that's going to happen is the price is going to drop again, but it's going to be a smaller drop. I don't think they're going to give this big a discount again. But they have to get it. They have to get it to a point where people are buying shards. So if people don't buy shards with these changes, if they don't pull during this 2x event, Plarium's going to be like, what do we do? Well, we have one option. We have to lower prices. You know, I mean, what else can they do at this point?
Just keep it going.
You know? And the funny thing is, I was getting worried about it. I hadn't heard anything from Plarium in a couple of weeks, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to go in the other direction. And they're going to be like, all right, you know, you guys say you don't like this. We're gonna jack it up even more. We're gonna just like
that would be a bold move.
You know, just be like, screw you.
Oh,
like, you know, like it's. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. How like how anti-player the monetization practices are. They're abusive practices. They are abusive practices. And it's possible for companies to get into that mentality and be like, we are the only source of this game. These are digital resources for us. They don't exist in the real world. So we can put them out at whatever rate we want. And if you want them, you'll get them at the rate we tell you. You know? And I could see them doing that. But the only way they could get away with that is if the whales and the krakens kept spending. And the whales and krakens collectively said no, which is awesome, by the way. That's phenomenal. Thank you. Anybody out there who's a major spender, if you've held onto your wallet for the last 2 weeks, you are the people responsible for these changes. Keep it up. Keep it up. I want to see more positive changes. I don't think Raid is in trouble. I don't think Raid is in trouble. I think this is a natural correction that had to happen. You know, we hit a wall and the player base was like, it's a cool game. It's a great game. We want to be here, but you guys are ridiculous. And we would rather leave the game. We would rather leave a great game to get away from you than to keep playing this great game and have to deal with you as a, you know, publisher. So it's very cool that it's working, and I hope people keep it up, and I hope we see more positive change in the near future.
That's really all we can hope for.
Yeah, exactly.
The platitudes.
We were talking about this earlier before the stream. SUN has this he has this habit of like letting me know when he's sort of done with a conversation. This wasn't really a conversation. This was me just ranting for a little bit. But he's like, yeah, all right, man. Like, that's enough of that. And he'll just be like, hey, what can you do about it? All right, so let's look at this other thing over here, you know?
And the funny thing is, it's not even me like trying to end the conversation or anything. It's just, I don't know. It's just something I do naturally.
Yeah.
Just a nice little platitude, like, hey, you know, hey,
no,
gotta do what you gotta do. Hey,
I
man,
was saying, it reminds me of when I was younger and I worked in New York City, and I worked at a warehouse, and you know, I'd work with a bunch of warehouse workers. You walk down the street to the deli to get, you know, your lunch. You'd hang out in the park and stuff, and you know, the cab drivers would pull over in the park and have their lunch there. And you know, so you're always talking to these New Yorkers that you talk to for like 5 minutes, just like, hey buddy, how you doing today? You know, it's just that kind of thing. That's all it is. And New Yorkers, at least at the time, this was back in the 80s and the 90s, you know, back at that time, it was like, New Yorkers were real curt. You know, they were busy people. They were always on the go. They weren't impolite, by the way. I think that's a misconception about New Yorkers. New Yorkers are not impolite. Their sense of politeness is different than that of people in other places. When you have, you know, 7 to 8 million people who all live within a few miles of each other, like courtesy takes on a different tone. One of those tones is that, like, you don't waste people's time, and you don't want anybody to waste your time, because getting across town takes you an hour. So like, just get from where you are to where you need to be is, you know, impossible. So you don't waste anybody's time. So you'd be having these conversations in the park, you know, eating your lunch, having a sandwich and a Coke. A guy will be talking to you, and then he's got to get back in his cab and go to work. He finishes his cigarette, he throws it on the ground, and he goes, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. It's crazy out there. See ya. You know, and he just jumps in the car and he goes. And it's like, that's the way conversations used to end in New York City. It would just be like this statement of something that's completely vague and almost meaningless. But it's just a clear indication that he's got no more time for you. But he doesn't want to be like discourteous and say, you know, you got to shut up now, I'm leaving. So he does it by telling you is like, another day, another dollar. All right, I'm off back to the grind. It's like, okay, see you, buddy. You'll never see him again in your life, by the way, because there are, 150 parks where he can have lunch every day and he's not coming back to your park. So it's just those kinds of things. And it's funny because I noticed like last week that you did it, but now I've been paying attention to it and now I just see it all the time. So just be like, hey, what you gonna do? Okay, so let's talk about this champion over here. But yeah.
I don't notice that I do it, so now I'm stuck in my own head about it. I'm like, keeping an eye out for it.
Right. That's too funny. All right, let's say hello to everybody in chat.
I was about to say.
We got a bunch of people here. Silov04, howdy y'all. Mario, welcome. Alex, welcome back. Femril, Great Dane. We got Team Red in the house. Mr. Fudan, we've got some Team Sun in the house. Godazord, welcome. Who else we got in here? We've got Steve. Steve11B is back. All right. The Fatal Virus. That is ominous sounding, but welcome. Joshua Lynch, welcome. Joshua Lynch says, I need help so bad I am stuck. I've watched you from the start and I just don't know what to do. Well, Joshua Lynch, I would like to help you out. Today is not a takeover video, so we're not going to be doing any takeovers today. But what I would recommend is join the Discord community if you haven't already and start asking questions there. We have a bunch of different help channels so you can post your roster. You can get general roster help. If you're interested in clan boss help, there's a clan boss channel. There are some other channels as well. So that's where I would start getting a conversation going because there are a lot of really good players and interesting problem solvers in our Discord community. Also, don't hesitate to put a comment in any of the videos. And if I can answer a question, I will. But that's the first place to start. And then on Tuesdays, when we do our live stream on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time, you can try for a takeover. Maybe I can help you out there. He says, I have 2 accounts that are hard stuck. One of them, a newer account. I opened a Sacred on the 2 times and opened Hefrax and Scortosis. Well, Hefrax is a great champion. I don't know Scortosis that well. I think he's pretty good. But yeah. Shukarian is here. Good afternoon. David Gribby is here. Wish they do something about the Sacred Mercy while they're at it. Yeah, I would like that too. I don't see massive changes coming. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think we're going to get some little tweaks. And it would be nice if those little tweaks extended into some of the other areas where we're having problems. For instance, Arena. The Arena needs to be fixed again. It is getting towards a critical mass of brokenness. But that's it. With Eastern time, you mean New York time? Yeah. Eastern United States. So yeah, East Coast time.
Now, didn't you say at the start of this whole primal thing, or either you misspoke, did they change something about ancient shards? Because you were talking about us pulling next week.
Did they change something about ancient shards? Not that I know of. What did I misspeak? Okay. What did I say?
Yeah. When we started the conversation about the shards, you said that there's something changed with, and I thought I heard you say ancient shards, and that might change our plans as far as pulling.
I meant primal shards.
It was okay, gotcha.
So the reason I meant primal shards is it's a little hard to see here, but I actually have 2 primal shards, and today is a 2 times chance for epic and legendaries. And on my main account, I think I have 6 or 7 or 8 primal shards now. So,
Must be nice.
Yeah, well, one of the things, it is nice. It's fine. It's great. They're extra shards. But one of the things I was thinking about on my main was, should I pull these mythic or these primal shards today? Because I was looking at so there's a summon rush going on right now, right? So the summon rush is for the fusion. And if I haven't decided whether or not I'm going for the fusion on my main. I think I'm more likely to take a pass than to go for it. And the reason isn't because I don't like the champion. I would like to have the champion on my main account. The problem is I am burnt out on fusions and running 2 accounts and trying to do a fusion on one of them and doing all the YouTube stuff. And like for a champion that I don't love, like I think he's going to be interesting. And I think I will miss out if I don't get him. That's the one thing that's keeping me like thinking about it.
You got that FOMO, man.
Well, yeah, it's the enfeeble thing that he's got. I think that's going to be really cool in Live Arena, and I could use a little bit of help in Live Arena. I don't actually need help in Live Arena. What I need to do is I need to dedicate some time and resources to building out some arena champions, and then I'll be fine. I have crazy good arena champs at this point. I pulled Harima on stream. I pulled Kandrafon on a video not that long ago. I've got great, nukers now in every affinity. So I just need to build them all out. I mean, I still have Trunda, I have Genbo, I have Ragash, I have Allele. Like, I have all of these great nukers. What I really need to do is just build more teams specifically for the arena. And once I do that, I think I'll move up in live arena. But I think he's going to offer something really interesting to that space. I don't know that I need him anywhere else. But since there is a Summon Rush event going on, the thing that I was talking about here is, I got to shrink myself down. I think this. Okay. So the thing in this space is you can see primal shards are worth 200 points. Which is really weird, by the way. This is so inconsistent, it drives me nuts. Right? Like a primal shard is worth more than a void shard here. Right? It's 10 times the value of an ancient shard. So why the hell does it have the mercy system of an ancient shard? That makes no sense. It's 10 times as valuable here, but in the mercy system, it's basically an ancient shard. That's stupid. Right? And the fact that it's like fewer points than a sacred shard is also kind of silly. You're going to get fewer of these anyway. Excuse me. But like the best champions in the game now come out of primal shards. So shouldn't it be worth a lot? I mean, the numbers of primal shards, it would be one thing if you treated it like a void shard. Like a void, you get more void shards than you get sacred shards. You just do. The void shard drop chances are much lower for the top reward for the legendaries, only the 0.5% instead of the 6% that sacred shards are. So if you think of them from a top reward standpoint, a void shard is 1/12 as valuable as a sacred shard, roughly. Like, okay, that's not how math works, but roughly. So if you're getting 5 times as many or 6 times as many void shards, that starts to close the gap between these two types of shards. Right. And what you're saying is, even though void shards drop at a reduced rate compared to sacred shards, they are valuable because you get more of them. So you get more opportunities. And that's a fair argument. Like, you can make that argument. But primal shards should hold to the same argument then. They have a lower chance of dropping the best champions in the game. So you should get more of them in order to compensate. But we don't. Now, they are putting up primal shards as offerings in the tournaments and stuff like that. So potentially you could get a lot more primal shards than sacred shards if you were willing to spend like all of your resources all the time to just chase primal shards. But it wouldn't be that much more. Like, I think in 6 weeks, I typically pull somewhere around 10. I want to say 10 to maybe 12. Maybe a little bit more in terms of sacred shards. That's actually pretty good. I get 1.5 a week, I think. Somewhere between 1.5 and 2 a week. And with primal shards, you can probably get like 3 or 4 a week, maybe, based on the tournaments and events that are going on there. So you can get maybe double. But in order to get them, you have to go crazy with your resources. I mean, if you look at the point totals, I mean, some of them are not. Actually, I think all of these are going to be the tournament events now, so I won't be able to see them anymore. Yeah, so they all just closed. They all just closed yesterday. But, some of the primal shard events are decently friendly. They're not awful. But they break it up and they give you crystals. So you get, some crystals at 1,000 points, and then you get some crystals at 2,200 points, and then you get the last crystals at like 5,000 points. You're like, well, if I don't get the last crystals, which is, by the way, it's 50 of the crystals, it's like I could collect primal shards over time, but it's just going to take a very long time. So if I want that big bulk now, I have to invest in doing 5,000 in a champion training for nothing, no other reward than the primal shard and the champions I get for training, So, and then they were really unfriendly with this, weren't they? They literally shut down, like they did a dungeon divers and a champion training through the end of CVC, right? Or it started in CVC. It ended at the same hour that they started the events for the fusion. So it's like, so yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. Anyway, this is a noob versus pro. So let's start talking about noob versus pro stuff. So you're in the clan boss fight. What difficulty level is this right now?
It's brutal. Wait, yeah.
It's brutal. All right. Now you got everybody up to 60 now except for Wukong, right?
Yeah.
And did you I know you kept out your masteries on Fane, so now Fane's got her War Master.
Nope.
No,
No, I got all my books. I got all my books on Fane, but I haven't gotten my all my masteries yet.
So there is more growth yet in this champion.
Oh yeah.
7.9 million on brutal. Dude, I'm still working on a 2 key on hard. That's
yeah. I'm at like 10 million on hard.
Now that's a 3 key brutal. I think brutal is 21 million. It's like 21.4 million or something for the top chest. So that's a 3 key for brutal.
I 3 keyed it yesterday.
And you can 1 key hard?
I'm like a million away, I think.
Wow,
once I get her masteries.
You're in good shape. You are in good shape. So walk us through your team.
Yeah, so I've got Kale, Fane, Apothecary, Wukong, and Deacon. Kale starter champion, of course. He's got everything built. I've got Deacon as a speed lead, get the turn meter decrease, Apothecary to speed things up, keep everybody alive, and Fane to just beat on the Demon Lord and just keep going and going.
So you're healing based on the leech, and then Apothecary's healing. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, Kale's still in lifesteal, right?
Yeah, he is.
Is Fane in lifesteal?
No.
Okay. So once you get
Fane is in accuracy or perception.
Yeah, once you get Fane up to 6 stars and you can get her War Master. One of the nice things about War Master is when you proc a War Master proc, if a leech is up there, you basically get a full heal.
Yeah.
So, you know, with Deacon and then Apothecary just topping everybody off, that's a good team without a lot of defenses. You really don't have any major defenses. The only defense that I can think of that you have actually on the entire team is a decrease attack. So you do decrease the attack, and Wukong will strip the buffs from the clan boss, which is nice. So he'll never have an increase attack. But you don't have any increased defense. You don't have any shields. You don't have any ally protect. You don't have any strengthens.
Nope.
And yet you are 3 keying brutal 30. What is it? 39 days in, 38 days in. You 3 keyed brutal.
Yeah.
That's solid. That's really nice.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Let's take a look at
my light soaring up. I might end up switching him out with Wukong so I can get increased defense, get a little bit more survivability in there, but yeah, we'll see.
I thought I used a key earlier today, but I guess I didn't. Yeah, you're gonna get that light sworn in there. He does he give an increased defense? Is that what he gives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the revive on death.
Right. I find that revive on deaths don't really help with clan boss. Sometimes, every once in a while.
Probably not that much, but
the only way for it to really work is if it pops at the right time where Apothecary and Deacon would then increase the turn meter of that champion and you get around to a heal. Because a lot of times revive on death, you have very little turn meter. So if the clan boss just goes, do you know what I mean? He's just going to kill you because you're going to be
dead.
Yeah, you're just going to be dead again. So it needs to be timed so that you die and then get your turn meter fills or your big heals and then come back to full strength. Otherwise, it's basically nothing's happening. But all right, so for me, I can 1 key normal now, no problem, and I'm a 2 key on hard, like sort of. It depends on the affinity. So on the void affinity, I might be able to 2 key hard here, and I'll show off my team, but it's not particularly strong. So this is my team. And one of the issues is I did decide to 6-star my shield guard second. So he's great in wave content, but he's not really a clan boss damage dealer. He doesn't bring anything to clan boss at all, really, other than just he swings hard. But I had an interesting development this week, which was nice. While pulling mystery shards, I pulled 2 good champions this week out of mystery shards. And one of them is Frozen Banshee. And now she is a top-notch clan boss damage dealer. She can go right up to Ultra Nightmare. So potentially, I can build her out, get her up to 6 stars, and that's going to make a big difference in my overall damage. So I'm excited about this. Now, I just got her up to 40. I haven't even put gear on her yet. She has no masteries or anything. But I did book her out during the CVC, so she is fully booked. So I'm committed to this champion at this point. I'm not going to throw 13 books into a champion and then not use her, right? So it's a lot of books, but she is fully booked out. So now I just got to get the right gear on her. So I'm pretty excited about that. And as soon as I get her to like 5 stars, that should start improving my my clan boss. Now for Arbiter missions, I'm here. I'm stuck. Well, I'm not stuck, but I'm on mission 208 where I need to get my 4th rank 6 champion. So that's what I've been grinding towards. And there is a champion training. Yeah. There is a champion training tournament going on, and a dungeon divers. There's also a dragon tournament. I want to be in there all the time because I love dragon tournaments. But champion training tournament. So hopefully, if I can commit here, I can get the 5,000 points and actually get Selenia here, who would be, she's the void rare. That's the other thing we have to talk about. We have to talk about all the other champions, because you and I have decided not to go for the Panda fusion. We don't think that we could make it, and we also don't think he's worth necessarily overextending to go for it. But there are some great...
I just don't have the resources.
Yeah, but there are some great rare champions and epic champions. So out of the champions that are in the fusion right now, there are two epics, and there are 4 different rares. And it seems like all 6 are actually viable. All 6 could bring value to accounts. Some are more like faction war specialists, or maybe, you know, they're early game specialists, and then you kind of move away from them. Whereas some of them actually feel like they're decent progression champions that can help for a long time. So are you focused on any particular champions out of the fusion batch?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want Selenia.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't have HP burn, and I need it, especially right now in the Doom Tower. And I mean, Melkith would be nice. Get another buff extension out there. Be good for my faction crypts. But outside of that, yeah, they're probably, that's where the rest are going to go, to the factions.
Yeah.
But I might as well, you know, take advantage of some free rares.
Yeah, and maybe a free epic.
Yeah, exactly.
We both talked about Pan, because neither one of us has a Sylvan Watchers champion right now.
Hold on 1 second. Tulsi, I'm reading your comments. Don't you talk down to me like that.
What's going on?
No, I've been reading the chat, so people ask questions, and Tulsi Bahado goes, I don't think they're reading our comments. I'm like, I'm reading them. Watching you. We're just talking. But yeah, well, that's kind of my main goal as far as the fusion.
This is an interesting comment from Shooter90. Just discovered your channel recently. I am an endgame player, so the information you provide isn't really relevant to me anymore. But your streams have an ASMR quality to them that I really enjoy. That's an interesting compliment. It's like, I don't care about your content, but you help me relax so I can go to sleep. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I'm glad it provides some benefit to you. Thanks for hanging out. Definitely. And you know, one of the nice things I do think about, like, veteran players who just want to watch good content, they go out there and they're interested in seeing what the content creators are putting out there. If you join a Discord community, you get in a live stream, you have a conversation, those players, those experienced players, can provide benefits to the newer players in that space. So, you know, the nice thing about generating like a content creator community is that the community is more than just reliant upon the content creator himself or herself to provide insight. I can't possibly respond to every question. There's no way to do it. There's just too many people at this point, and there's not enough time in my day already. But by building a community, you know, hopefully I can answer some questions directly, but then other veteran players get in on the discussion. We talk about things in our Discord community, in the different channels. Like, I've learned things that I didn't know about the game just by watching the conversations ongoing. Even if I'm not jumping into them that often, I try to review them and look at them. And so it's really cool to have somebody here like Shooter90 who's maybe an end game player, maybe he's been playing for 3 years. It's like, I pretty much know everything. All right, great. Ask him a question. Like, throw a question out there. Maybe he'll have a good answer for you. Maybe it'll be an answer I've never thought of.
And I'm getting to a point where I can start answering some questions.
Yeah,
I'm only, 34 days in, but I've run the gamut.
Alex has her or has a Selenium already. Great. You asked something above Tulsi. What did you ask?
Hydra guide.
I don't see.
They asked, I'm a free-to-play player and 105 days in.
Oh.
I want to build my first Hydra. Can't even get first chest. When will you make a Hydra guide?
I made a Hydra guide. I made one about a month ago. It's out there. When will you do a search in my YouTube channel for Hydra guide? No, I do try to make guides based when people request them. In fact, the video that is going out today, the video up? New video's up?
Yep.
So the video that went out today was requested actually yesterday. Surprisingly, I was already thinking about it. But, you know, one of the things is, like, I cover a topic and then I don't want to cover that topic too many times in a short span. So there is a Hydra guide out there. It's a basic how to get into Hydra guide. It covers champions you want to look for, buffs you want to think about. It covers the fight, all of the heads, things you need to watch out for. So it is a pretty good guide. It's a pretty in-depth guide for your first Hydra team. It's not necessarily a guide for, like, how to get to Nightmare or anything like that. But if you need a Hydra guide, definitely go and look for it. You didn't find it in my channel. Well, let me tell you the name of the video.
You mean the link I just posted?
Oh, you just posted the link. Yeah. It's there. Now I'm curious about what it's entitled and why people can't find it.
It's entitled
Don't Get Devoured, a Hydra Clan Boss Guide. Yeah, so I think it's entitled properly. But, yeah. The Fatal Virus says, so for my calculation, an Epic Fusion takes about 800 energy, food, level, and ascend, so I guess it's worth when I manage to get all 4 rares. Yeah, it really depends. It depends on how far you have to extend to get your rares. And how far you have to extend to, like, use up the energy. If you're getting are you getting other returns on your investment? Is it like, if you're investing in Dragon right now, I think, because Dragon is the Dragon tournament, plus it can be the champion training tournament or event or whatever. You can also be the dungeon divers. So you can get like 4 or 5 times value out of a Dragon tournament right now, or any of the dungeon tournaments. So if you're doing that to get your rares, great. You may as well be spending the energy anyway. If you can quad dip or 5-time dip at any moment in the game, you should probably be doing it, regardless of whether it's a fusion or not. So yeah, I would say as long as you don't have to overextend and burn through all your gems or something, you should be investing pretty heavily right now, even if you're not going for the fusion. But let's get back to this. Let's get back to this guy Pan. So we were talking about the fact that neither one of us has a champion in this faction.
The Sylvan Watchers?
Yeah.
I've got the one Archer guy. I've got 2 copies of him. That's it.
Okay. The common Turlac or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Turlac.
Yeah. Not the common, the rare.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think Pan is decent. I don't think he's bad. But he doesn't really offer a lot to an early game player. His kit seems to be based around hard Fire Knight because of this freeze. And also the ignore resistance. Like, you don't need to ignore resistance in the lower levels because the resistance isn't high enough to really worry about. But when you start getting up really high into, like, stage 10 of the hard modes of the dungeons, now the resistance is pretty high, and just getting accuracy isn't usually enough. You either want an accuracy buff, you want a decrease resistance debuff, or you want some kind of ignore resistance mechanic. So he doesn't feel like an early game champion to me. He doesn't feel like a progression champion. He feels like a specialist for one particular fight. And in the rest of the places, he's going to be okay. So he doesn't feel like the epic to necessarily go for on these accounts. Malekith, on the other hand, feels pretty solid. He's got a chance of stealing random buffs, which is always nice. That's always good just to have somewhere on your roster. And then he's got an AoE. AoEs are always nice. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. And has a 100% chance of decreasing the duration of enemy buffs, which is whatever. And then increasing the duration of ally buffs, which is great. So just for that A2, the A1 and the A2 give you 2 different ways to get buffs off of enemies, which is nice. It's so simple to just have a buff cleanser, though. I mean, we all have Wukong at this point, right? So, like, stripping buffs off of an enemy should be easier than this. This is like a complicated way to get buffs off an enemy. But the increased duration is great. And then you have a revive here. And since this is a free champion, I actually think this is going to become a very important champion for the Knights Revenant faction crypt, because so far in that faction, the only viable reviver for faction wars is
Rector Drath.
Rector Drath, thank you. An amazing champion. Fantastic champion. But if you don't have her, you're kind of hosed. And now they're offering a free reviver. So I just think even in the early game where you don't necessarily get a lot of value out of this guy, having this guy in your roster and just putting him into your faction crypt team will allow you to farm a much high, like allow you to get a bunch of 3 stars, farm a much higher stage there. And eventually this will be one of the keys to 3-starring the whole faction. And this is one of the harder factions in my mind. It's not like the top 2 or 3 hardest factions, but I would say it's definitely in the top half. Maybe in the top third of factions. At least it was for me. So I think that this guy's pretty valuable. And then all of the rares are interesting to me. I like all of the rares. You were focused on Selenia, who I think is pretty good. So she's got a chance to put out HP burns with a 3-hitter. Each hit has a 75% chance. So you could get, this is potentially possible to get 3 HP burns out there, or at least 2. She gets an increased accuracy. It's the lesser increased accuracy. So that's going to alleviate some of the accuracy issues. Then she can extend the duration of HP burn debuffs, which is awesome. That's a 65% chance. 3-turn cooldown, though, on an AoE. If this hits at all hard, this is going to be awesome. And then, she's got some decent self-sustain on the A1. She's fairly squishy, not even 900 defense, and not even 13.5k HP. So pretty squishy. But we were just talking about this.
She's got a nice heal on the A1, so
yeah.
that'll help.
You did really well this week with Doom Tower, and you figured out a solution. I helped you a little bit, but we figured out a solution to get you past the Scarab boss.
Yeah.
And so you actually got past Scarab boss, and now the next spider is or the next boss is is it the frozen spider?
Yep.
And you need an HP burn to get past that.
Yeah, it's impossible to beat without HP burn. So
right. So
that's why I'm so excited for her.
If you kill the spider and the spider doesn't have an HP burn on it, it revives itself. And that will be a permanent revival loop no matter like what you do. You cannot kill it unless you have an HP burn on it. So in order to get past this stage, you need the HP burn. Now you're going to be able, once you get past her, you're going to cruise past 50 and probably you're going to get up to the next Scarab boss. And that's probably where you're going to get stuck. Because even though you got past that Scarab boss, maybe not. You basically duoed the Scarab boss with Apothecary and Feign, and that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
So you got two blood shield rings, one on each. and Apothecary was able to keep Thane alive, and Thane killed the boss by herself.
Yeah. I had Metal Shaper in there, and he just died. And
yeah,
he's not worth anything.
So the crazy thing is, you could get to the next Scarab boss and do the exact same method. And if you get Thane her final mastery, and she actually can do a little bit more damage on the boss, it might go a little bit faster. So the question is really, can Apothecary keep her alive? Right? Because if she just slowly gets whittled down, because it's a long fight, it took you 10 minutes or something, then you're going to be in trouble. Now, I don't have a reasonable way to get past Scarab boss myself. So I think I'm going to probably max out here for the month, which is unfortunately, we still have 3 weeks. So I'm saying that, but we have a 2x Ancient Shard event in a week. So I could potentially pull somebody who'll help get me past this.
Yeah, David and Shooter also say a block revive would also be a solution for the frozen spider.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Block revive would work.
Yeah, I think the only block revive that I have is Armiger, so he would have to be the killing blow.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. So right now I got to grind my next 6-star. And I also got to gear up Frozen Banshee at some point.
Yeah.
I got an itchy nose today. I don't know what it is.
So who are you going to 6-star? That's the question.
That's a good question. So I was thinking Deacon. I was just going to run Deacon up, and I was going to try to get another 6-star, like I was going to try to get all the chickens for another 6-star for next weekend, so that if I pulled somebody, I would have it available right away.
Yeah.
And so my focus this week was just going to be get a 6-star like today, hopefully, and then just start farming food. Now, the other thing about the missions is that if I don't get the 6-star today, I'm going to be stuck for 3 days, I think, or 4 days. Because I have to, like, the next thing I have to do is I have to clear, I think it's either Magic Keep or Force Keep. Like, I have to get
keeps.
Yeah, I got to do one of those. Let me actually check real quickly. It's Void. It's the Void Keep. So I have to be able to get to this by this weekend. So that's not so bad. That actually gives me a little bit of time. I thought I had one more and then Voids. But so Voids open on Sunday. Today is Friday. So I've got a day and a half basically before I can even get in there. And then I'll have 24 hours. So I should have no trouble getting my rank 6 champion. And then I'm just going to cruise. I got to unlock some masteries. That won't be a problem. Fire Knight's Castle shouldn't be a problem. Upgrade 4 champions to 60, no problem. Stage 10, Spider's Den, no problem. So yeah, I'm gonna be going right through here to Fuse Relic Keeper, which I already have set up. So he's already. So as soon as I can get this 6-star, I'm basically, it's just a little bit of time and energy, and I'm gonna be all the way through this set of missions, which will be nice because then I can get some legendary skill tome, which will be great.
Yep. You'll be just about caught up with me then.
Yeah, so if we look at my roster, my original thought was Deacon. I was like, all right, I'll just 6-star Deacon. I still don't have a banner for him. And then I pulled Frozen Banshee, and I also pulled somebody else. I think I put him in the vault. I pulled a Kale, which was kind of interesting to me. Not because I want to replace my starter champion with Kale. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to make that mistake. But Kale's a very good damage dealer and could help me out in faction crypt. So I might build him to 40. Just to have like a baseline damager in that faction crypt. But the real pull was the Frozen Banshee. So the question becomes, should I skip Deacon and get Frozen Banshee to 6 stars? Because that will so massively help me out in Clan Boss. It'll be night and day. I can replace Shield Guard with Frozen Banshee. Like the amount of extra damage I'm going to get out of Frozen Banshee is insane. But anybody I'm going to put in the Clan Boss, I want at 6 stars. So the question is, like she's going to go in every team. She's not just going to be a Clan Boss damage dealer. She's going to be on all my dungeon teams. She's going to be up against any bosses that I go up against. So, then the question becomes, is she worth taking the 6 stars right away? or should I think about Deacon? The other thought I was thinking about was SUN WUKONG, actually. I've been thinking about more and more about getting him to 6 stars because I think I'm going to want him at 6 stars. But let's see what chat says. So, chat, do we think I should I 6-star Frozen Banshee next? Or should I go and get Deacon up to 60 and maybe just take Frozen Banshee to 50? Which one do you think is going to give me more value? I'm leaning towards Frozen Banshee because I think having a boss killing champion is going to be really valuable. She's not going to help me out anywhere else. Like Deacon running him up to 60 would help me in places like Arena, as well as Clan Boss and all the dungeons and Doom Tower. She's not going to help me with wave content. She's not going to help me in Arena, but she will help me with every boss, I think. So let's see what people say.
Just remember, this is how you got into trouble the first time.
How did I get into trouble?
This is how Shield Guard ended up 6-star. Well, not exactly trouble. It was kind of...
Shooter says, if you can meet the accuracy checks with Deacon without a banner, I would 100% 6-star Banshee. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I have pretty good accuracy on him. It's about 230, I think. Somewhere between 220 and 230. Maybe a little bit higher. Alex says, I mean, my Frozen Banshee does 5 million on Brutal, so yes. I would 6-star Frozen Banshee, Joshua says. Frozen Banshee would enable Brutal, says the Fatal Virus. Jose says, wow, son, get Fane so good in Clan Boss. Nice. Yeah, that's the best pull so far on either account would have to be Fane. Although my Runekeeper Dazzler comes close as a second. Kadij says, oh, I'm sorry. Kaji says Frozen. Oh no, thanks. Hello. Welcome, Femoral. Frozen. We've got no votes for for Deacon.
Just to reiterate, as Ozzy said, chat, don't forget to like the stream.
Yeah, like the stream. That'd be great. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're making a push. That I mean, we didn't have a big discussion about this because you were like, yeah. It was like, we want 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I think the only realistic way to do that is to kind of push for subscribers. Like I haven't been very vocal about like, subscribe. I try to throw it in every video. I try to remember it, so it's become part of the thing. But like, we want subscribers. We want 5,000 subscribers, which means we got 3 months to pick up 3,500 subscribers. Now, our best month was like 550 subscribers. So we need to double our best month and then keep it up for 3 months. So, hey, if you have friends out there who want to watch content, who play Raid Shadow Legends, introduce all your friends who don't play Raid Shadow Legends to Raid Shadow Legends and tell them there is a great content creator for beginner content and free-to-play content. Yeah, that would be awesome. No, but seriously, we are pushing. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. That would help us out. All right. So yeah, it sounds like...
Answer another quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this has definitely been a theme all around. To Joshua, as far as our clans, we do have a little bit of space open right now, but we're kind of just reworking our application process because although the way we had it was effective enough, it's just getting messy. It's getting real messy just to keep track of people properly. So we're working on redoing that, and then as soon as it's available, we're going to be putting that live on the Discord. So just join the community. As soon as there's any updates there, they'll be the first to know. So that's going to be the best way to get in.
And the current plan
that's for everybody.
Yeah, the current plan that we're working on is we're going to open up a third clan. So right now there's the NOOB versus PRO clans. There are 2 of them. There's one for Sun, one for me. And that's it's a nice little competition thing. But in general, it's a family of clans. So we're all rooting for each other. But those 2 are filling up. And then we have extra, applications and stuff. So what we want to do is open up a third clan. And maybe what we'll do is we'll make that like the slightly more advanced clan. So if players feel like they've outgrown the initial clans and they want a more competitive clan for CVC, or a clan that's going to clear, say, Nightmare, clan boss every day or something, then we'll offer that to those players and they can move up to that. and then we'll keep the 2 clans that we currently have for sort of, newer players or less experienced players to just have nice active clans to progress with. And then eventually we'll probably open up a 4th clan, or maybe more. But I think that, in order to do that, in order to expand beyond these 2 clans, even right now, dealing with the 2 clans is a bit of work that's kind of hard for us to keep up with all the other stuff going on. So, we're going to be looking for people to help us out with that as we grow. And we have to refine our systems a little bit so that we just have more organized information. So yeah, but we are definitely interested. If you're looking for a clan, if you're interested in a clan, we are definitely growing that community as we speak. It's ongoing.
Yep. This fight is not going well for me.
So I think Frozen Banshee's the winner.
Yeah, I would say so.
By an overwhelming margin. That's a great mystery shard pull. I mean, you got 2 apothecaries from mystery shards, and I was like, oh, geez. You're running away from me. But all of a sudden, low key, I'm starting to creep back into the game. I mean, Runekeeper Dazzdirk was a splash. That was a big move. That helped a ton. But you are still a couple of weeks ahead of me in terms of the progression, 3 keying brutal right now, where I'm still trying to 2 key hard. So that Frozen Banshee could help me catch up in Clan Boss. And then we don't know what's going to happen in a week. We have all of these ancient shards that we could pull, and that could result in a big shift. That could be kind of a seismic shift between the accounts. You could get further ahead. You could get way, way ahead, can't see me in the rearview mirror ahead, or potentially I could start to make up some ground.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
I think somebody just pulled Ugo in my clan.
That's a very nice champion.
Yeah, Kate did.
Simon Posse says, I've started a 3rd account only using rare and below. Would love to be able to join one of your clans with that account. Yeah, that could be fun. You can't download Discord for your Mac. Try it on your phone. Do I keep my clan gold when I leave my clan? Yes, you do. So if you change clans, you keep your clan gold. What you don't keep is your contribution history. But you keep your gold. Tributor says, I know you do takeovers every Tuesday. You had plans to start up the process for people on Discord. I could definitely use the guidance. Yeah, I do. I had plans, and they've gotten
work in progress.
They've gotten derailed a little bit, but I do want to offer that. I want to offer takeover and coaching services to people. So I want to be able to do that. Right now, it's a little bit crazy. I'm working 100-hour weeks. So I've got to find something to trim out of my schedule before I can actually make time to do any coaching. So even if I had the services up and I had all the materials and people were signed up, I don't know when I find time to actually do it. So I do want to do that. And I'd like to get that on the regular. And we're moving in the direction of trying to be more planned ahead, I guess, as opposed to just reactively every day being oh my God, we got to put a video out. Ah! It's a little bit of a scramble. But things we're doing. Colred's going to pull Rotos next week like it's nothing. Yeah, that'd be fun. Pulling a Rotos. That would be fun. I've never pulled a Rotos on any account, so 13, 14, 15 accounts. I don't know how many accounts I've played at this point. I know it's in the teens. But I've never pulled a Rotos. I'll tell you the champion I really want to pull. And I would love to pull him on the free-to-play account. Great Danish just pulled Frozen Banshee. That's hilarious. I would love to pull this champion on the free-to-play account, but I would really love him on my main account, and that is Corvus. And it's a champion I never hear anything about. I never hear anybody talking about Corvus, and I don't know why. I think he may be... He may be the best...
Maybe.
He may be the best non-void clan boss champion in the game. He may be. If you're building an unkillable, I think the reason he doesn't get talked about is because he's a killable clan boss champion. I mean, he's great in dungeons and stuff. You can use him everywhere. But Corvus is just a crazy good champion. I'll show people I've kind of not been making content or talking about Corvus because I don't want to like spread it around the community too much. I'm like, I'm just hoping I kind of quietly pull him on the DL and then I can be like, hey, I discovered this great champion that nobody knows about. I mean, he's reviewed really well. People know he's good, and yet he's not in any of like the major teams. You know, he's not apparently meta. But I desperately kind of want this champion on my main account. He's an amazing champion. So let me show. So this is Corvus up here in the Sacred Order. And he's got a plague mask. And he looks pretty cool. He's all right looking. And if you look at his stats, you know, decent defense, almost 1400, 99 speed, some resist and accuracy, 19 KHP. So decent survivability stats. Not overwhelmingly defensive, but pretty good. He is a defensive based damage dealer. But so on his A1, he has a 50 or 60% chance of a decreased attack. So you've got that decreased attack on the A1. Great. I'm already thinking great against bosses, right? Increases your survivability. Now he's got an A2. Now this is a unique skill in the game. There is no other champion in the game that has this skill. The first hit increases the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn. The second hit increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. There is no champion that increases the duration of debuffs on the enemy and ally debuffs. Everybody has, like, there's tons of champions who have that other combination, which is decrease the buffs of enemies and increase the buffs of themselves. But this is the only guy that does an increase and an increase. At least the only one that I found. If anybody knows of another one, please shout it out in chat. So nice AoE, 2 hits with a great 3-turn effect here on increase in durations. So you're talking about the same champion can give you 100% uptime on your debuffs and 100% uptime on your buffs. Now you've got this A3. Again, another AoE has a 100% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs on everybody for 2 turns and will place a poison sensitivity debuff on everybody who has 2 poisons or more. So you know how I built that poison exploder Elenarl? And I couldn't get like enough poisons out there to really work. Like this guy would solve that problem. So he could be part of my poison explosion team as well, because not only does he put 2 poisons out there, he puts the poison sensitivity out there, which means every stack is going to do 25% more damage. So clearly he's bringing poisons there. And then on his passive, and this is the thing that's really, really kind of ridiculously strong. This decreases the damage enemies under poison debuffs inflict 5% less per poison debuff up to 25%. So you can get an additional 25% mitigation from 5 poisons. Which when you think about it, that's just off the top. That is a mitigation you can't get anywhere else. So this is like a second strengthen on your team. And the crazy thing when I think about this is that I've always wanted to do this, and I've never been able to do this on any account. I want to run this guy with Venom Mage. I want to run him in a killable clan boss composition. Because Venom Mage has this passive. Enemies under heal reduction debuffs inflict 15% less damage. So the 2 of them are both poisoners. They can extend poisons. They can activate poisons. Venom Mage can activate poisons. So you get a lot of poison damage. And then you can get 40% less damage from the clan boss just through their passives. You know, you throw a strengthen on top of that and increased defense. It's like you're going to create a team that goes 200 rounds against the clan boss just because of these 2 champions. So I like Corvus has been sitting quietly at the top of my desired champion list for like close to a year, I would say. What are you doing?
I'm going to grab some water real quick.
All right. Just leaving the stream. It's like, whatever.
Hey man, you can hold down the fort. I believe in you.
But yeah, so I've been wanting this champion for a long time on my main, and I really want him. I want to make that work. I want to use him in both the poison explosion, and I want to make him a killable clan boss team. So Pab says Corvus the Poisoner. Yes, poisons for days. I mean, I'd take a Corvus. If you pull him, I'll swap you my Angar for it. Where do people use Lady Kimmy? Recently pulled her. People use her a lot in Arena, but you can also get a lot of value out of her in Doom Tower or in dungeons. Any wave content. Any wave content is great for her. Kimmy is S tier in Hydra. That's true too. She's good in Hydra. Could you run the two of them with Frozen Banshee and say, I don't... could you run Venom Mage, Frozen Banshee, and Corvus? Potentially, you could run a third Poisoner to get even more poisons out there, or you could run somebody in a Toxic set, because you want to have 5 poisons up minimum all the time. But I don't know who you would run with them. You know, I'd have to put together that team. You're going to want some speed to speed tune it, so you might need like a Seeker, or you might need... I don't know, you might need an Eris, you might need, you know, an Elva. Yeah. So there's a maximum of 10 debuffs that can be applied to any target. So you can't stack poisons infinitely. You can't stack anything infinitely. And in fact, if you have 10 debuffs on the target and then you try to apply more debuffs, they just don't hit. They don't land. So you have to be careful about that. You want to bring the poison sensitivity. You have to bring the heal reduction, right? And that's 2 buffs. And then you need the 5 debuffs for poisons to get the full mitigation. So you only have 3 spots left. You want to weaken, you want to decrease attack, and you want to decrease defense, right? So those are all the ones you want, which means you're not getting a leech on that boss, by the way. So you're going to have to bring sustain in from somewhere else. And unfortunately, the heal reduction doesn't really play for anything else than giving you the mitigation for Venom Mage. So that's one of the debates there. I could potentially pull Venom Mage out and go for something else, and that would free up a debuff spot, but then you don't have that at 15% mitigation. So yeah, the 30% crit chance reduction would be nice, but again, any additional debuffs and you're going to be running up against having too many debuffs. You know, and you need the poisons for damage, so you want to have at least 5 spots for poisons, and you don't want to have too many take up the debuff bar. That's all. So yeah, a couple of options there. I mean, one of the reasons why I want to get the champion is so I can mess around with that composition, because I've never been able to do it. I have Corvus on one of, like, my second most advanced account, but I haven't played that account in 3 or 4 months now. And I didn't have a built Venom Mage on that account. I did have like a 4-star Venom Mage I pulled at one point, I think. But I didn't have the gear and the champions necessary on that account to make this idea work. For this account, I would definitely have all of the champions I need. And like I said, I already built that Elenarl, so I desperately want to make that work. I invested so many resources in that poison explosion idea, and then it completely didn't pan out for anything. Like, I just have her sitting there in you know, in the roster, fully built, just being like, what are you going to use me for, man? All right, we hit the first milestone for Dungeon Divers. Let me see where I stand in terms of making a 6-star. Son, are you back?
Almost.
Okay. All right, so I have 2 5-star chickens right there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to turn Snoring Thug into a 5-star chicken at some point, but I don't think I need him because I think I have 1, 2. I only have 2 more, so maybe I do. I'm actually going to hold on to Avir. So I'm building him for faction crypts. You can see I'm not investing a lot of time or energy to get him there. I just I did this during CVC because there was a champion training event and a CVC going on, so I wanted to make sure I got enough points. There's this guy, Satyr, I could turn into a 5-star chicken. I was using him for faction crypts, and my intention was actually to build him out. But at this point, I need to get my next 6-star. So that's 1. I also have Zephyr Sniper, but she is at least fully booked, and I think she's got gear on her. So, and Saurus is as well. He's booked out. So I think I'm going to hold on to these two. I could potentially get rid of my Relic Keeper because I have to fuse Relic Keeper anyway, so I'm going to get him back right away. So I should have enough. I should have enough chickens. So now what I need to do is just get my 3 stars to 30 so I can convert 2 more 4 stars into chickens. So let's do a little bit of work here and clean this up. The champion training is live, right? I didn't just imagine that.
No, you were imagining that.
Champion training here is. Yeah. I need a ton of points for this. That 5,000 is not looking great on this account. All right, let's go ahead and upgrade some of these. Man, mystery I forgot how hard it is to get. I mean, I didn't really forget, but it always strikes me at how hard it is to get enough mystery shards early in the game. Like, eventually, you just start compiling them.
I'm back, by the way.
Okay. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm going to go get my arena energy.
There you go. Need to find some more energy. Hey, we got a rare. We got Banshee now. I just got Banshee and I've got Frozen Banshee. I think my Undead Faction Crypts is looking really good. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty solid. I've got 2 epics. I've got Grinner, who is a reviver. I've got Doomscreech for turn meter. I've got Frozen Banshee now. I've got Banshee. So I'll probably throw Banshee. I just might make her a chicken. Banshee's good, but I don't know that I care that much right now. I want my next 6-star.
I've got a Banshee too. She's in my faction.
Yeah. Every time I do this, I think I should just level these guys out. But I don't have the time. I'm trying to use the Guardian Ring to get these guys topped off, but it still takes a couple of hours. It's like, even, all right, so this one's 7 minutes, but then to get from 9 to 10 is like an hour 20 or something. So it's not as quick as I would like it to be. So this is the thing for the champion training. Should I be doing the trick right now? I don't know if I should or not. I need a lot of points for the champion training, but I don't have a ton of. Let's see where my potions stand, or my brews rather. All right, I could do a little bit of this.
What's the trick?
So putting brews into your food before you consume them so that you can get more points for your champion training.
Ah.
I don't want to burn through too many brews because I want to save them up for a fusion I'm actually going to complete. But in the meantime, I do want this champion. And there are some good rewards in the champion training.
So what, you just pop 1 brew on them and then keep going?
I do 2 on 3-star champions. I do 4 on 4-star champions. I do 8 on 5-star champions. That's my personal method. I don't put any into 2-star champions, although some people do.
Yeah, I'm not looking that hot on brews.
All right, so I think I'll do this couple more times, and then we'll see where we stand on points. I'd love to get another 6-star before I have to burn another clan boss key. But I don't think that's going to happen. I still have to get Frozen... not Frozen Banshee. Yeah, Frozen Banshee. I still have to get Frozen Banshee to 5. Okay, so now do I have... Oh, I also have 2 4-star chickens, which is nice. Okay, so I just need to keep going down that path. Let's see how we're doing on the tournament. I haven't even gotten to the first 1,000 points. It's so annoying. Yeah. All right. So now I need to start burning through some energy, but I have no energy saved. I burned all my energy. And my dailies are done. My advanced, so I can do my advanced stuff. Doom Tower, Hydra key. I need to use a Hydra key. All right, let's go use a Hydra key. Let's go ahead and throw our team into Hydra and see how they do. My guess is not well. Go ahead and do. Ooh. Just got a decent drop on my main account. I got a 6-star piece in the speed set. It's a chest plate with defensive percentage and speed as a substat. So that's always nice.
Yeah.
That's a very good piece. I hope that rolls. All right, let's go take a look at chat here. See what they're saying. The Void Cat is on my list. You're talking about a Kemptum? Kemptum is a very strong damage dealer, yeah. Corvus plus Venom Mage and maybe Claude for support. 30%, yeah, we talked about that already. Guardian Gear as an alternative. Guardian Gear is always a nice option for Clan Boss. The trick treated me well. I'm at 7,100 prepping for a 6-star. So Alex is talking about doing the champion training. That's nice. Shooter,
yeah, I need to start doing that.
Shooter has a method. For me, it's 1 on a 3-star, 4 on a 4-star, 6 and 1 common champ on a 5-star. Yeah. I've done the 6 and 1 before. So sometimes if I'm running low on brews, I'll do the 6 and 1 instead of the 8. And I do 2 on the 3-star rather than 1. Gets you to level 15. I don't know. Like everybody has a slightly different version of the trick, but it's a really solid trick. It's a good way to get a lot more points for champion training. I mean, you're doubling your points really, maybe even more. I don't use my pots for anything else. I basically save my pots for the trick. So.
Yeah, I feel like I remember you saying that like way early on in one of the videos. But I just knew there was a pot thing, and I didn't remember what it was.
I did the video. We did the video where it was like level champions fast. Entire video.
But that's what I mean. It was like all the way at the beginning.
Yeah. I did 241,000 damage on this key. That's not bad, actually. I did not expect to do that much. I thought I was going to do like 50k and get killed. Well, let's keep that result because I don't care about it. I just care about the keys. Crypt keys. What are the crypts today? Ogrin and Knight's Revenant and Shadowkin. Let's see if I can even do Shadowkin. I think now that I have this guy at 5-star, I might be able to do.
Who do you have at 5-star?
He's a 5-star chicken. He's just, yeah,
gotcha.
He's a 5-star chicken. He's not a bad rare, actually. He can be a decent clan boss damage dealer if you don't have anybody else. But, yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more brutal with myself in terms of not keeping as many champions in the vault. Like, if I don't have a clear long-term champion who's going to give me value going forward, I basically think of them as chickens.
Yeah, I try to get 5 for every single faction, and then just whenever I get an upgrade for them, I throw the weakest food champ away.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. And I'm just trying this other method because I've never really done it this way before. So, and I had to like stop myself because I've done that way so often that I had to actually say to myself, you're trying to do this other thing. So get out of, get out of this space and do it differently. Yeah, so I need to look at these champions actually.
Yeah, I agree with Fatal. I'll sort out once I've had my first Ancient 2x event. Same here. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah.
How's it going, Jeffrey?
So one of these guys is good. I forget which one. Guy doesn't look awful. Decreased speed, heal reduction, heals all allies, increased defense. So they're actually both decent. It looks like they would work well together too. So I could potentially run that guy up. All right, what's the third faction? It was Knights Revenant. Knights Revenant, I should be able to actually maybe get past the first boss.
I can't. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in that weird place, and I've been in this weird place all week where it's like I need to be doing 4 things simultaneously that don't work well together. Like in order to push my Arbiter missions, I had to put energy into stuff that wouldn't allow me to do like the other things that I needed to do. So I haven't leveled up the faction crypt champions in the past like 4 days. So I'm not sure I can clear much of anything. I can obviously clear some Knights Revenants because I have previously built champions, but I have like champions waiting to be built in every faction. And so we have 3 factions open today, and I might only be able to get materials out of one of them. A little bit chilly here.
Nah, I mean, you should be able to at least grind lowest levels.
Well,
no,
I can't even clear level 1 in Shadowkin right now. So I could do it if I could get those food champions leveled, But if I level those food champions,
shield set on them, they'll be fine. You can get past level 1.
Well, that's true. If I wanted to invest the silver, I could do that.
I do that almost every faction. I just put a shield set on it, then keep pushing until I can't go anymore.
Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna
cost me like 8,000 silver, but
I'm gonna be buying a lot of energy today, so I'm gonna be using like all of my gems on energy during this fusion event. Not even going for the fusion, just going for like the extra free champions and making sure I'm getting value out of my resources. But I need this next 6-star, and I need it today or tomorrow. So that's what we're gonna be focused on. What do you do with the void pots? During void shard events, when I get all my void rares, I take all the bad void rares and I turn them into chickens, and then I level them up with pots. That's what I do with most of my void potions. Or anytime I pull like a void epic or a void legendary that I just want, I just level them up with void pots because I have thousands of extra void pots. Jeffrey Stamper, hey all, how you doing? Did Sun's clan win CVC? Sun, did you guys win CVC?
We did.
Yeah, you did. Pulled it out
together in the end.
Right at the end.
Yeah, I think when I was getting ready to head out, I think we were down over 100,000 some odd points, and the clan pulled it together. Teamwork.
You woke up and you had won.
Yep.
And you maxed out your personal rewards, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you got all 10 tiers. I only got 9. I got 9 in my personal rewards.
Yeah, that's when they had that champion training going as well. So that's all I did during the CVC.
Yeah.
That and Minotaur. What's up? What's up? Yeah, what I'm doing during this champion training is I'm just I'm 5-starring all the champions I've been wanting to. So I'm not going for a specific 6-star, but I've got my Lightsworn up, I've got High Katoon up to 50. I think I'm gonna go for, say it right, Anchorite. But that one's still under debate.
Yeah, so the CVCs were kind of interesting because we both came up against higher
Like
level
23 clans.
Level 13, yeah.
Oh, ours was level 23.
No, they had 123 fights or something, 23 CVCs.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Might have been.
Yeah. But yeah, so we came up against a level 13 clan, and they had more active players than we did, which was weird. I thought if we were going to compete with them at all, we would have to have more active players. But they actually had like 27 active players, and we had like 24 or something. And yet, midway through the second day, we passed them, and we just kept pulling away. And I think we ended up winning by probably about 250 or 300,000 points. And it was a good team effort. A lot of people contributed a lot of points. There were a couple of people at the top of the leaderboards who did a little more than everybody, but it wasn't like somebody dipped into their wallet and spent $1,000 and won us a CVC, which is something that sometimes happens in some other clans. But next week's going to be, or not next week, 2 weeks from now, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because we've won again and we're going up. So we're definitely going to run into some clans that at some point are just going to crush us. Now, the good news is I would like to lose next week, I think, because then if we get knocked back a little bit, we've got a chance to win the personal rewards, event.
That's what
2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
So if we get up too high, like when we get to the personal rewards, we're not going to be able to win. All right. So let's see.
Max level is 20 for clans. Gotcha. Yep. Okay. So it must have been 23 wins. I just remember seeing 23. I'm like, these guys, either way, they're significantly stronger than we've been.
Yeah.
We're just a little noob clan. We're just starting out. But we've got pro players.
You got noob players. We've got pro players.
Well, hey, you win some, you lose some.
I'm still hoping.
And then the conversation changes.
Hey, hey, buddy, all right.
Hey, all right,
hey, it's crazy out there.
Sometimes the wind blows. All right.
Hey, that's how the cookie crumbles, All right. So yeah, I'm still hoping that somehow, miraculously, if we just keep matching each other's results, our clans will get matched up. Because that day, I will stream all week. I will stream, not all week, I will stream the entire CVC. I will do all 48 hours of that CVC if that happens.
Oh, yeah, I'd use every last resource I have.
Yeah. Like, I would be so inefficient. I would just throw everything at it.
Yep.
And then if your clan beat my clan, I would just throw down my phone in frustration and go home. Be like, no, I'm not playing anymore.
As it should be. I'd spend every last resource.
You guys suck. I'm going home.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yep. Call off work. Hide from my family. Yep.
Okay, so you're saying put like 1 or 2 pots in them?
Yeah, I mean,
I see.
Yeah. So, all right. So the thing about clans being matched up is you're matched up based on the tier. So based on your last few results, basically when you win, you have a chance of getting promoted to the next tier up. And if you lose, you drop down. So the number of players doesn't matter. The level of the clan doesn't matter. And even the number of battles they've won in the past doesn't matter. It just matters what's happened in like the last 3 or 4 weeks or last 3 or 4 CVCs. So you get matched up that way. So a clan that's been around for a long time, it could be, you know, several years old. It could have fought in every CVC up until this point, but it's starting to die maybe, or lose activity, or they've lost a bunch of players and they've got new players in. So their clan level will still be high because that's just historically been invested. But their actual competitive level is lower than it used to be, or, you know, maybe was never great anyway. And so you can be matched up against them just because you're at the same tier that they are. And so I think that's what's happened the last few weeks. We've had, you know, we've had opponents that are clearly more experienced than our clans and our, you know, clearly older clans than ours. But they haven't been very active or very effective. And so we've won all of our battles so far, all of our clan v clans.
Yep.
How much energy you need for all this fusion event? If you want to do the whole thing and get the final guy, you'll probably need somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 20,000 energy. But remember, it's a 13-day event. You get some of that energy passively. You get some as rewards. You can buy some with gems. So the energy thing is tricky, but if you've been saving your energy refills, usually on my main account, I don't have to dip in more than maybe 500 gems for a fusion in terms of energy. Something like that. So maybe I have to get, you know, 1,500 extra energy, but I usually have enough energy between just my regular, like daily, you know, refill energy, like the what the hell is that? The passive gain, I guess, the passive energy gain. I couldn't think of how to describe that. And then the refills that you get, you know, the free refills that you get every other day, and all the ones you get as rewards and stuff like that. So yeah, you probably need somewhere in the vicinity of 18 to 20,000 energy. But it's a 12 or 13 day event, so, you know, you're looking at maybe 1,700 energy a day. You get 480 energy passively. I think it's 480, right? You get 20 per hour. Yeah, so 480. Plus you get if you complete your dailies, you get your refill there. If you complete your advanced, you get your refill there. And then any rewards you get from any of the events or tournaments, you get those. And then, like I said, if you've saved up, then you should be good. I find that energy is the least, well, not the least worrisome resource is arena tokens, because the arena events and tournaments are the easiest ones to do. It's just, you just play arena like you're normally playing arena and you're fine. So those are probably the easiest. After that, I think energy is generally the easiest. The hardest thing I find to have enough of is time. It's not any of the resources outside of time. You just have to play the game 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, which is crazy, because it's like, who has that much time? I never have enough multi battles, right? So like if you have RSL, if you have you know, RSL helper, or you have BlueStacks, you can set up macros and you can do that, then that will help alleviate some of the burden there. But yeah, I don't have enough time in my day. I mean, I always end up staying up to like 4 or 5 in the morning to finish out a champion training tournament, or to finish out a Dungeon Divers or something. And it drives me batty, because it's a 13-day event or 14-day event. It's like, you're doing that every other day for 2 weeks. That's why I'm thinking about taking this fusion off. Not because I don't want the champion, not because I don't have the resources to get it. I don't want to play until 4 in the morning. I want to go to sleep. I want to have a little bit of a life, you know? I already don't have a life.
Just got to get good.
You got to shut your mouth. Just got to get good, he says.
Just got to get good. It's not that hard. Just get good. How do you get good? You get good.
How'd you get good? Ask me a bunch of questions.
This way. just came naturally to me. All right.
Yeah,
You need
right.
to get good.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't know anything about that, though. I know.
It was just yesterday that you were whining away to me in Discord about this Scarab boss is stupid. I can't get past it. You tried. How many times did you try to beat that thing?
I've. There's not enough curse words under the sun for some of these freaking bosses.
And then, you know, we had a conversation for about 10 minutes.
And the stupid thing is, well, hold on. Firstly, I still did it mostly on my own. Okay, so screw you, buddy. Secondly, I don't know where I was going with this. I just wanted to stop you. But yeah, no, I spent so much freaking time and effort. I got this metal shaper up. I just sort of re-rolled all this gear, and none of it mattered. I just two-manned it with Apothecary.
Yeah.
Vein. I think I was more pissed about the waste at that point than anything else.
Yeah. And granted, like we just talked about it, like that solution won't last long term.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to, right? The goal is to get as many resources each month as you can, and this has helped you get past this particular floor and potentially unlocked, 20 or 30 or 40 more floors for you. So that's, that's nice advancement. But, this is where solution, like, I think a big part of going on here. I shrank myself down. Now I'm looking at myself on the screen and I feel really tiny. So I'm gonna, there we go. That's nice. All right, that's better.
Tiny cool.
Yeah. So I feel like, the problem solving aspect of this game is the thing I really enjoy. And the nice thing about being a free to play player is that problem solving, you're confronted with it constantly.
Yeah.
Every single fight is a new puzzle to solve. And you're looking at your roster and you have like nobody. You have nobody on your roster. And you're just like, how the heck am I going to get past this fight? I don't have, like, you go watch content creator videos and they're like, oh, well, this is a great solution. And this is a great solution. And this is a great solution. And I do that myself. I'm putting out a 30-minute video. I can't cover 15 different solutions. I can give you 2 or 3, And so it's like, you go and you watch the videos and you're like, I don't have any of those champions. I guess I can't do it. And then you're like, nah, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to see if I can do it. And I think that's the downside of having like an end game account like I have now. Like there's still a problem solving aspect. It's great, but I have a huge roster to draw from. So if it's not one of my whatever 70 level 60 champs, I can go and look at my 150 level 50 champs and see if I can level somebody up to solve the problem. But when you have an account that has 4 or 5 level 60s and you're just like, how do I do this? And you have to solve it with like a level 40, or you have to solve it with the champions that you already have and just do one little gear swap or something. Like that's fun to me. I enjoy that. That's the challenge I want. But, it was really interesting because the solution to Scarab boss, the free-to-play solution, is very simple and very frustrating if you don't have it.
Yep.
And the solution is simply get yourself Blood Shield accessories. That's it. Get Blood Shield accessories, put them on all 5 champions. Doesn't really matter which champions you have. Get some healers, get a reviver maybe, make yourself tanky, and just whack away at the guy until he dies. It's not a great solution, but it's highly effective.
But it works, yeah.
It's highly effective. Like, you can do it with any roster, but you need the Blood Shield rings in the factions where you have champions. And so you were looking at it and you're like, man, I don't have any Blood Shield rings. And then you're like, I do. I have 2. I'm like, who do you have them on? Like, well, I have one on Apothecary. I can put one on Apothecary. And I'm like, that's it. Yep. You're good. Okay, can you get one on Thane or Kale? Yeah, Thane. Okay, good. Done. You do it. Just try to do it.
I had it on Thane the whole time, so
yeah.
She was the only one that was in a good spot.
It's like, that's all you need. Just need it on a couple of champs. And if it's the key champs, you're golden.
Where do you get those blood rings? You get those from CVCs.
Yep. And
those are the only place.
That's the only place that I know of to get Blood Shield rings. You have to get them as rewards from CVCs. What do I do? Yeah, unfortunately, the Blood Shield ring that I got this week from CVC was for Dark Elves.
I'd take that any day.
I know. I was thinking, is like, one, you would love it, and two, I have no Dark Elves worth speaking of.
You've got a Kale?
Yeah, I have a brand new 3-star level 1 Kale.
Yeah. Could be leveling up my uncommons. I'm so screwed with food and mystery shards.
Yeah.
For 1 stars, I wouldn't use my energy. 1 potion and 3 other 1 stars gives you rank 10. Yes, I concur. Except I don't really have any potions.
Yeah, and as far as brews are concerned, like, here's the way I feel about that stuff. I know people who do that with the 1 stars and they just do the 1 stars. XP is XP, right?
Yeah.
It's the same at level 1 as it is at level 59. XP is XP. So it's not necessarily more efficient to spend XP in one way versus another way, as long as you're not wasting the XP. So whether you do that with the 1 stars and you put the brews in them and use them that way, or you actually put the 1 stars into campaign and run them up, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you find a system that works for you and makes sense and works with the resources you have. When you are running out of champions, when you're running out of mystery shards, right, and then energy isn't the bottleneck anymore, like, save your brews. Why not? Like, spend the energy instead. You're going to get silver for it.
Yeah, no, and I think it's like it's 8 energy a pot is pretty much what it is. Or 16. Oh gosh, 16 is too much. But yeah, I don't really have any more pots, so
Man, I
just gotta do what I gotta do.
I have started pulling rares from mystery shards at like 3 times the rate that I was. The first 3 weeks of this account, I think I pulled 1 rare. And then in the last 3 weeks of this account, I've pulled like 6. I don't know if we're at 6 weeks yet. We're not. Probably at 5 weeks. 5.5. By the way, how many ancient shards do you have? I got 55.
44.
All right. That's where the pro's going to make his money, on the extra ancient shards. The dwarven grumbler. Whatever. Who cares? He's a chicken. They're all chickens at this point.
Everybody's a chicken.
Everybody's a chicken. I think my epics are chickens at this point. All right, I'm going to check the faction. I'm just going to see who shows up tomorrow. Faction wars.
Dwarf and demon spawn.
It is dwarves. Okay, so I don't want to use my dwarves as food then. And demon spawn. Demon spawn's a little tricky. So that's going to be a 3-star. I don't want to use up the dwarf. I don't necessarily want to use up my demon spawns either.
Demon spawn is free, 5 Diabolus and done.
That's true. But the point is I'm trying to get a 6-star as fast as possible. So if I level up the Diablos, then I'm going to consume them, and then I'm not going to have them for tomorrow. So I think I need only 2 more level 30s after this guy. So yeah, I think I'm going to use Banshee up. I think. Or maybe I'll use the maybe I'll just use the Ogrins, because that faction crypt is open today, and that'll let me like farm a little bit here. So that's what probably.
Trying to remember what I was doing with the comments before. I can't remember.
Where did that Ogrin guy go? There's one of them. There he is. It's the silver that always gets me, says Jeffrey Stamper. For the fusion events, yeah, the 60 million silver is just painful. Advanced Quest 5 silver key, how to complete. I think it's just, you have to use a Hydra key to do that. Rolling up junk 5 and 6-star gear to 4 before selling makes artifact enhance super easy. Yeah, I haven't found that that's made a big difference for me. I've tried it a few times, and it still seems like you spend a lot of time rolling up gear that way. So it's not fast. And the silver is just silver. So if you have the silver, it almost doesn't matter what artifacts you're rolling up. But I know some people recommend that method, and if it works for you, that's awesome. I just haven't found it work for me all that great, Bryce.
He uses RSL helper to roll up the gear.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, actually running the campaign, like using your energy to train up, gets you more food champions as well as silver. Whereas using the brews, that doesn't do anything for you except get you the XP. Now, I like using the brews because it's fast, but typically what I do is I try to use as much of the energy in campaign as I can, because I want the silver and I want the extra drops. But if I have to choose between using energy there and, say, using energy in a dungeon tournament and for like dungeon divers, I'll go and spend it over there instead, and then just use more brews. So the brews will save me if I don't. I just realized I'm on the wrong difficulty here. The brews will save me in the sense that I won't need more energy if I don't have it available. So rather than spending gems, I'll spend brews, basically. But yeah, something's always the bottleneck. In whatever system you're running, there's always some resource that's the bottleneck. Whatever you have the least of, that prevents you from, getting the maximum value out of your other resources. And in this game, for most players, I think whether you are free to play or you're a big spender, whatever, I think silver is always the biggest bottleneck. Because I have literally 1,000 pieces of good gear waiting to be rolled up. And it's just like, I don't have the silver for it. And so I do gear cleanses every once in a while, and I'll roll them up to 4 or 8, see if they're going to be optimal. And if they're not optimal, I'll sell them. But over time, with every gear cleanse, you end up with 3 or 4 additional pieces that are good. And then they sit there at, 8 or 12, waiting for a champion to come along and need them. And then you're like, oh, well, now I have to level up champions. And so I have to get the books and all that stuff. And then it costs silver to level up the champions and promote them and stuff, which is ridiculous. Like silver, everything costs silver. The only thing that doesn't cost silver is masteries. But yes, I'm always low on silver.
Yep.
And early game especially, like if you have silver, you just spend it. Because it's like, why hold on to it? Like if I can roll up one more piece of gear and that gets me 5 more speed and 5 more crit rate, like that's all I care about. So I will always be running with like less than 1 million silver early. I have rolled myself down to 0 on this account like 4 times in the first 35 days.
If not more. That has been such a consistent problem for me.
Yeah. But that's good. That's how you should do it. You should be wringing every last drop of power out of the resources that you have early game.
Yeah.
All right. This is always fun. There's a grinding campaign. Good news is I'm getting money. I need the money. We were having that discussion earlier, son, about when mystery shards drop, how pissed we get. Yeah. It's so funny. We'll be running dungeons, you know, and you're running the dragon and you want good gear, and then all of a sudden you get, 3 mystery shards. And you're like, I hate this. I need 5-star gear. And then you start running campaign and you're grinding up food champions and you're like, I don't have any mystery shards. Like, I'm completely out of mystery shards. It's like, well, remember when you were mad about getting mystery shards? Now you want them. So whatever I'm doing, there's always that bottleneck coming at me. It's like, oh man, I can't do any more champion training. Why? You ran out of energy? It's like, no, I ran out of champions. Got nothing to level up. Icky Ray, welcome. Hammerhawk, welcome. Hammerhawk says, I'm always low on sacred and void shards. I am almost never low on sacred or void shards on my main account, except the day following a shard pull event, right? Because then you're just low forever. But I've gotten very, very good and disciplined about never pulling those shards except during the optimal moment for my account. So typically I actually when I look at my portal, I have tons of shards, but I can't pull them. I may as well not see them, right? They may as well not exist for me. Because right now, I mean, I know, son, you are suffering the pain of having a giant stack of ancient shards right now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to pull them, right? But it's just going to be so much more efficient to wait a week and do it during the 2x.
Yep. And I think that's a pain that any early game player can commiserate with and empathize with. And I think most players, even if they have the best of intentions and they're like, I'm gonna hang on to these shards until the 2x event, I think most players would still pull them. They would just get frustrated one night and they're like, I need a new champion, and they just pull them, Or there would be some small additional double dip, like there's a champion chase going on, but there's no 2x event, but you're like, well, it's a champion chase. Or CVC, I can pull for CVC, and you just pull 40 shards. You're like, and then you don't get anything and you're frustrated and you're like, this game sucks. It's like, well, make better decisions. I mean, what do you think? Like, if you weren't streaming this content and you didn't have me in your ear every day being like, save your shards, would you have saved your shards, do you think?
That's a good question. I would say if I didn't know how much more efficient 2x's would be, then I would probably just pull them whenever I got them.
Yeah.
But with if I just didn't stream this or, didn't have you in my ear, but I knew that 2x's are just that much more efficient, I'd probably still save them.
Yeah. I think that early on, I didn't even realize 2x events existed. I didn't know that was a thing because it's not like they tell you that's coming. It just happens to be that once you learn the rhythm of the game and you get into the community a little bit, you'll realize, oh, there's this system where I can save my shards up and get more value for them at different times. So once I figured that out, I was like, oh yeah, if I'm going to be free to play, I'm doing that. Like, I am absolutely doing that. I'm never pulling a shard again, you know? And that's just my mentality, because it's like, my other option for getting more champions is to spend money. I'm like, I'm not spending money on this game. And again, not because of any moral objection. I always want to say that when I start talking about these things, because there may be viewers out there who are spenders, and you should spend the way that makes sense to you, as long as it's a healthy spending habit, as long as you set yourself a budget and you're capable of staying within it, you know, and you don't get the gambling bug and start to get into bad habits. Go ahead, spend the money the way you want. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Go ahead. But for me, you know, not only one is the challenge of playing free to play like more fun. I enjoy that challenge. That's really the primary purpose. But the secondary purpose, which is important for me, is that, and we talked about this early in the stream, the monetization policies of gacha games is predatory. And so I simply don't support games that have that monetary policy, right? The monetization practice. Now, if I ever found a gacha game that did it in a way that I agreed with, I would happily give money to a game that I thought I wanted to support. And it's weird with Raid, because I want Raid to do well. And it's kind of like when you have a friend who's always a jerk to other people, and he's fun. He's like fun to hang out with. He's cool. He's maybe an interesting conversationalist. But every time you go out with him, he's like rude to the waitress or something, you know, and you're just like, dude, why? You could be such a cool guy if you just got that chip off your shoulder and chilled out a little bit. You know, it's like, you're really interesting, but you're kind of a dick. Like, why? Don't be a dick. You know, and like, that's how I feel about Plarium. I'm like, you've got this great game. People love this game. They want to play this game all the time. They want to get their friends into this game. They want to play your amazing game. Why are you such a dick about it? Just stop being a dick. It's just like, just chill out. Just be nice. It's not that hard to be nice, is it? It's like, it's really not. I guarantee you people will keep playing your game if you're nice to them. You don't have to be mean to them to get them to play your game. And you don't have to be mean to them to get them to spend money in your game. If you've got a good game and you're nice to your players, they will spend all of their money in your game. I promise you they will. They will spend just as much money as, you know, you get by trying to nickel and dime everybody, you know, that you can. So, you know, for me, free to play is just sort of, I only pay for games that I think the monetary policies are healthy ones for gamers. And I don't think gacha games have healthy monetary policies. And yet here I am making content about gacha games. You know, again,
the game's still good.
The game is so good. The game is so good, right? It's very good. I enjoy this game really a lot. This is like one of the perfect kinds of games for me. It's basically like a puzzle game and a fantasy game and an action game all in one. Plus it's grindy, and for whatever reason, I'm like the king of grindy games. Can't get away from the grind. Don't really try to get away from the grind. Hammerhawk, thank you, sir. Nice to join you guys again. You are welcome. Sinks, optimal shard pull moments, you say? Yep. Captain Volcano says, I am low on everything. That's often where we live. Yes. Mathematically, the best time to get Legos is at a guaranteed Lego event followed by a 1+1 event. That's not actually true. It really depends on your mercy counter. If you're tracking your mercy counter, then that's absolutely true. Right? So you want to go ahead and get the guaranteed Lego, or you want to get the 1+1 if you can. Now, guaranteed Legos, it depends on how many shards you have to pull, right? Because every additional shard that you have to pull to get the guaranteed is an opportunity cost against you, in terms of, like, you could have chosen the 2x Sacred Shard event. So if you're tracking your Mercy system and you are close to Mercy system or in Mercy system during a 1+1 event or a guaranteed Lego event, then that's definitely the best time to pull. Absolutely. You're right about that. Two times event doesn't actually give you a 2 times chance to pull a Lego. On a single shard, it does. Like, yeah, when you get into the Mercy system, it's different, but I pulled a few at the start to get the Fatal Virus says, I pulled a few at the start to get a few options where I'm going. Third shard, Syl of the Drake, and I was watching Ash, who is talking about Syl all day. Yeah, that's a great pull early on, and I understand early in the game, people just wanting to pull champions to see what's out there and to get like a little bit more on their team. So I don't begrudge anybody from pulling a few shards early. It's not the optimal usage, like mathematically for the long haul, but it may be the thing that gets you excited about the game, and that's more important than being optimal. That's one thing I am always trying to promote, is that gaming should be fun, right? And if trying to be perfect in the game, especially a gacha game like this, if the stress of being imperfect is so overwhelming that you're just frozen in indecision and you hate making any, like, that's not a fun game. Like, if pulling shards is fun and you like pulling them the second you get them, and you don't care about the optimal like mathematics of it, go ahead, pull shards, enjoy your game, have fun. Absolutely, you should do that. Being a low spender is almost the same boat, Bryce says, as being free to play. Yeah, basically, because being a low spender does almost nothing for you in this game. The one thing that's probably worth spending a little bit of money on is getting the XP boost, like in the silver boost, because you get a little more silver, a little more XP, gives you a little more flexibility, and you grow a little bit faster. So if I were going to spend, that's what I would spend on the raid, whatever it's called, the raid pack or something. Emerald says, true, but you also prove that we can do nice content by being free to play as well. You do not need to spend a penny on this game if you don't want to, and you can do very well being a free to play player. And the truth of the matter is, I find that's true for a lot of games. I think a lot more games have free to play value than people like to think, because we're all impatient. Now, the kind of free to play games I don't like is the imposed inconvenience games, and Raid is kind of one of those. But their free to play value is so strong that it kind of overcomes the forced inconvenience. But you know, the game where it's like you play for 10 minutes and then after 10 minutes, it's like either watch these 3 ads or pay $1.99 for no ads for 30 days. I'm like, I don't mind giving you ad revenue. I really don't. But that right there is like, you can only play this.
Bad taste.
Yeah, it does. It leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. You know, or even worse is like when you're playing an MMO and they're like, you've chatted 30 times today. You've reached your free chat limit. If you want unlimited chat, subscribe. And it's like, I can't chat for free. That just feels stupid. You know, like, really? It's an MMO. It's supposed to be a massive multiplayer game. Like, and I can't do the basic multiplayer thing, which is talking to other people. I can't do that without paying you. Like, that is just plain stupid. I hate those forced inconveniences. I don't mind additional convenience. And it's like there's a balance there that's tough to strike. You know, it's like, can you give me extra if I pay you without it feeling like it's punitive to the people who don't pay you? And that's hard to do. But that's what I'm always looking for. What do you think in terms of the games that we've played over the years? Where do you think the best free to play value is? Like, what games do you feel like were the friendliest with free to play players?
I mean, first one that comes to mind is League.
Yeah.
Just because there's no pay to win.
Yeah.
You can unlock every last thing in the game for free. Maybe not some like skins or something, but at the end of the day, that's all just cosmetic. So, yeah, I mean, they really do it well.
Yeah, I mean, there are things about that game that are frustrating and that aren't great. But from a free to play,
frustrating,
but from a free to play perspective, League of Legends is.
Yeah, from that perspective, I mean, I think they're one of the best out there.
And one of the interesting things about that is they didn't start out perfectly free to play. Right? There were pay to win mechanics early on where you could like buy more rune pages with real money, and you could buy the higher level glyphs and stuff like that, and you could buy, you know, more experience, like XP boosts and stuff. And some of that was convenience based, but a lot of it was actually, it had a real competitive advantage to some of those things. And within a couple of seasons, they got rid of it. They got rid of that system, and they're like, you know what? This is the only thing that we have that is pay to win. Let's just get away from it entirely and go fully free to play. And when they did, I don't think there was a player out there who was like, no, I spent money on this thing. I can't believe you took this away from me. Like, nobody did that. Nobody got mad when the pay to win mechanic, or the pay to get, you know, competitive advantage mechanic was taken out. Everybody was like, cool, that's great. That's great. It's good that you know, like, if you're mad because you had to do something and now newer players don't have to do that thing and you feel that's unfair, I kind of get that mentality, but wouldn't it just be better for the game to be better? Like, just make the game better. You'll have more people to play against. The game is more likely to survive. Players will be happier. Like, all of those things will be good. And I think that's one of the things that Raid is really scared of. When you have people who have spent $100,000 in a game on sacred shards, and then all of a sudden you make sacred shards cheaper in the store, so that the same number of sacred shards would now cost a new player $70,000 instead of $100,000. You're afraid that person's going to get pissed off and throw down their game and walk away and be like, I'm never playing this again. That's not fair. And there's so many easy ways to fix that. There really are. Like, the first thing you can do if you want is you can just give away free resources to those people. Be like, hey, we know exactly how much money you've spent. We're just going to adjust it for the new, you know, economy, and we're going to give you half of what you would have gotten. And most people are going to be like, hey, that's really cool, you know? And if you're like, well, then you prevent those people from spending, you keep them in the game. I mean, how many thousands of shards do you need to hit that 10 times champion that you're always trying to get? You know, it's like, it's ridiculous. They're going to stay in the game. They're going to keep spending. Another way you could do it is just ignore it. Just go ahead and let them leave the game, because what they're going to do is they're going to sell their account to somebody else who's going to come in and doesn't remember that mechanic. And they're not going to know the old prices. They're just going to know the new prices, you know?
And the cycle continues.
Yeah, the cycle continues. Literally, like, Kraken accounts don't go away, right? Krakens sell their accounts to try to get pennies back on their dollar. They're like, I've put $50,000 in. I'm going to sell it for $5,000, and I'm going to get some of it back. And then the next person who comes in has only spent $5,000, and they're like, hey, I'm going to spend $50,000 on this game. Because you're not buying a $5,000 account unless you're willing to spend a lot of money on a gacha game. So give away free stuff, or don't, and just live with it and make everybody else happier. And all of your new players coming in will think it's a friendlier game, and all of the players who've been sitting around hoping for the game to get friendlier will be happy, and they're going to be more likely to spend. You don't have to fear changing your economic model in this way. Like, you don't have to fear it. And I think they do fear it. They fear the backlash. But continuing down the path that they've gone on has created the backlash that we're currently experiencing. You know? I hear in chat we got some Warframe people. That's great. We played Warframe as well. Warframe is awesome free to play. It is family.
Yeah. Yeah, they were another one that did it well.
Maxi Musterman just got a Mordecai champion. Congratulations. You have an AoE HP burner who's a very good one. Not a top-notch one. There's been some power creep on HP burns in the last 6 months or so. But you've got a champion that can help you clear Spider level 25. So yes, he's a very good champion.
That's what I need right now. I need another Spider solution.
The Fatal Virus is the only MMO I found was the Tribes. There are a lot of free-to-play MMOs. There are. Most MMOs have some version of free-to-play, but I actually prefer the subscription formula. I would rather an MMO have a subscription formula and no item mall at all, or only cosmetics item mall. That would be great. So, kind of a combination of like a subscription base and then like a Guild Wars style, because Guild Wars has an item mall, but it's primarily cosmetics, I think, or like crafting stuff. Maybe there's pay to win there. I don't know. I haven't played it in a while. But they don't have a subscription model, right? You just buy it. It's just buy to play. And then they come out with expansions, and then you have to buy the new expansion. So. Bo says, having more rune pages was by no means pay to win. You just set more pages for more heroes. It's convenience. Before I bought all my rune pages, so I was just switching runes in my second page, depending. Yeah, that's true. But you could get the actual runes.
Yeah.
Right.
I was about to say,
there were more powerful runes.
I don't think it was the rune pages that was the problem, is the runes themselves. And to get the really powerful ones was just ridiculous.
Monthly premium removed ads. I'm not sure about the ad model. I'm not sure how I like that. It's definitely intrusive, you know? It's like if you just had a subscription-based model that offered me something, rather than a subscription-based model that removed something that was annoying that you were putting in my way. Do you know what I mean? Like, you put the ads there, and then you're like, hey, do you hate the ads? Well, you can pay to remove them. Why don't I pay you for something good instead? I'll give you the same exact amount of money, but instead, you give me a monthly skin and a couple of free draws and 10% off in the shop. And I'll give you $9.99 a month. And don't have ads anyway. You know? I would rather that. Paying to remove ads is annoying. There's a game called Mythic Heroes. I talked about it in one of my my videos. It's a gacha game. It's sort of an AFK arena style gacha game. It's actually really good. And they do ads. Oh, what happened to my camera there? Wow. I just watched that happen live. It was like, no. Okay, that was really weird. But they do ads the best way I've ever seen a game do ads. And I've seen some other games in recent times do ads like this. I think Survivor.io is a game that uses this a little bit much, but they're a bit more aggressive with their ads than Mythic Heroes was. So there's like a page of shop where you can get stuff by paying with ad watching. So every day you can.
I've seen that before.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's its own page, or it's its own place in the shop, and you can go and buy 4 or 5 different things. It's not a lot of items. And it's like, so each day you spend your 5 or 6 ad watches or 10 ad watches or whatever it is. You spend them all at the same time. You watch 5 minutes of ads. You get everything from that shop. And you go on. And if the ads are like just too burdensome and you don't want the items in the shop, then you just don't do it. And you never have to watch an ad, and you get the full game for completely free. And it's like, there is an advantage to watching the ad because you get this extra bonus, but you are in fact paying for it with your ad revenue that you're generating for the game. And since it's a fully opt-in program, it never feels intrusive. It never feels like, here's an ad, we're going to stop you from playing for 5 minutes or 30 seconds even. We're going to stop you from playing for 30 minutes and you have to watch this stupid ad. Better. Yeah, it feels so much better to opt into the ads than to be forced to pay to opt out. It's great.
Mr. Fudan asks, how about pay to have Sun muted?
You don't have to pay, you just have to ask. I'll do that for free.
Sun.
See, he's muted now. He's muted. It's great. Nah, I'm going to unmute Sun. That's mean. Nobody puts Sun in a corner.
Really? I feel like you do it quite often.
I do it for a moment for the laughs. I do it for the memes, but then I always feel bad about it.
For the lulz.
Yeah, I do it for the lulz. I should check out Arena while I'm here. Arena has gotten tricky.
Yep.
I'm definitely not strong enough to climb gold yet. but I am more than strong enough to stay in gold 1, like, and dropping down to silver. Like, for the first week I've been here, I've been able to find the battles and use all my tokens. But now I'm starting to struggle with finding battles I can win. That was okay. I'm gonna have to refight that battle. Auto battle is so bad sometimes.
I got almost up to gold 2, and then just couldn't find any more battles.
Yep.
Maxie asks, how do I upgrade my athlete to 6-star without having to sacrifice like 5 leg champs? Oh, like 5 legendary champs? Yep, like Hammerhawk said. So you just want to level all the other champions up, commonly known as food champs.
Yeah, so take a champion you don't want, a common champion or an uncommon champion or even a rare that you just don't want to invest in, or even an epic, and you level them up. You know, so if it's an uncommon, you take it up to 20, convert it into a 3-star, take it up to 30, convert it into a 4-star, take it up to 50. No, don't take it up to 50. Take it up to 40, convert it into a 5-star, and then you just leave it at level 1, 5 stars until you collect 5 of those. Then you consume all 5 of them and get your 6-star champion. That's how that works. And it's a common system. Like, not every game has this exact system, but this is basically how gachas allow you to promote champions. Sometimes you have to do copies of the same champion, which I always find a bit frustrating. Like, after playing Raid for a couple of years, going to a game where they're like, oh, yeah, in order to level an Athel, you need another Athel. I'm like, that's stupid. Why? Why are you making me do that? And usually it's because they don't have that many champions. You know, it's like their entire champion roster is like 62 champions. And then you're like, how many champions are there in Raid? 812. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I am creeping up on the power level. My arena team is up to 93,000 power.
Yeah, I need to do something about my arena team. It's not doing too hot right now. I mean, it's keeping me in gold, barely. But,
yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I'm not losing points from people battling me. But I come across these teams that have, like, I don't know, they'll have 20 or 30K less power than me, and I get absolutely destroyed in one shot. And I'm just sitting there going, how is this a thing?
Well, power doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it should be an indicator.
It's an indicator of 2 things, basically. It's an indicator of how much gear is on the champions. So, you know, if they're tanky champions, it's an indicator of how tanky they're going to be. If they're damage dealers, it's an indicator of how hard they're going to hit, roughly. The other thing is it's an indicator of, like, speed, roughly. Like, how fast are they going to be going? Because speed translates into power. So higher power teams generally move faster than lower power teams. But once you account for those 2 things, like, it still has to be a well-designed team. So some cases you'll have a team where it's like, you'll have more power than they do, but they just have like a really, really fast speed lead. You know, so it's like you're running at 240 and they're running at 270. And you still have more power than they do, but it doesn't matter because they go first and they're built right and they can kill you. So they do. You know, and you can have the reverse be true. Like, you can have more power than another team. Or the other way around. You can have less power than another team, but because you're just tuned better than they are, you stomp them. That happens all the time for me.
Yeah.
You know, but the other thing I think about being good at arena, and this is especially true, like in sticky areas, like in gold 1 and gold 2, if you're trying to get the most value out of your tokens and get the most wins that you can, you need to be able to find wins that don't look like wins. you know, and usually that comes through manualing, like being very selective about who you're choosing, knowing what your path to victory is before you choose the team that you're going up against, and then executing at a, you know, a high degree of consistency. And that is very tricky for new players because you don't know the champions that you're coming up against. There are just too many of them for you to know all.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big part of the equation for me right now. Is I'm starting to see a bigger diversity. So I'm starting to recognize some champs where I'm just like, oh, I see that guy. I'm not even going to try.
Right.
But there are still plenty more that I have no idea. And so, you know,
yeah,
I'll give it the old college try, and then I see what they do, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
The biggest advantage,
that's going to be a no-go.
I think the biggest advantage I have in Arena, like especially as a new account, is just I know every champion that I'm going to see in Arena. Like, or if I don't know the champion really well, I can just go give a quick look at their character description, be like, oh, I know exactly what role they're filling and how well they're going to fill that role. You know, and so I can typically judge my opponents pretty well. Now, there are things that happen, like one of the things that happens, and this happens frequently right now, is I will look at a team, like I'll look at this team up here. I'm looking at this Elva team, and they're like 142,000. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be faster than this team. They do have a speed lead, but I'm going to be faster than this team. They don't have any turn meter fill. But they have an Elva. And Elva could live and then revive somebody and then put me in jeopardy that way. Also, they have a Newt who's a defensive base damage dealer and hits extremely hard. So the chance of me nuking him out, that's certainly not a guarantee. And if I don't nuke him out, then I'm going to get hit really hard. Now, I have a chance to win this. And maybe if I get in there, I could win it. And I might even choose to do so simply because I have to wait another 8 minutes to refresh this page, and there's nobody else on this page I can fight. So this is a bit of a coin flip here. Like I have maybe a 50% chance of winning this, or I have a 100% chance of sitting on my ass for the next 7 minutes. You know, so it's like I might take this on just to take it on because I have to use my tokens, and there's no guarantee that when I refresh this page, there's going to be a target on the next page I can even hit. You know, so sometimes like if you go into your Great Hall, you can actually see your win rate. So my win rate right now is 69%. I have 100 wins and 43 losses. Now 69% is significantly lower than I would be on my main account where I'm at like 93, 94% win rate. But it's like a calculated thing. Like sometimes I'm going into a 50-50 because I have to. I want to use the tokens, and they're not. Like, if your tokens time out and you just lose them, there is no value to them at all. So you would rather spend them on a 50-50 than not spend them, you know? And so my win rate is lower than it should be, but it's still decently high. It's still almost 70%. And it was higher before. It was actually probably like almost 80%. But then I had like 3 bags of tokens that were all going to expire within like an hour and a half of each other. And so I had to find 30 battles really fast. And so I was picking battles that I had like a 30 or 40% chance to win, and I was losing a lot of them. But I was literally about to lose all of those tokens and get no value. So winning 30% of those battles is better than winning 0% of those battles. You know?
That's a very good point. Yeah, I'll have to check my win rate too. I'm pretty sure mine's been going down the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. Let me get you back on screen. Oh, no, you're on screen.
Who, me?
Yeah, what were we talking about? Nobody puts Sun in the corner. It's like, you live in the corner, man. You live in the top corner of my screen.
I'm always in the corner.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to put you in charge here for a minute, and I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Chuck Norris's player power level you can't hang. Yeah? 85%'s not bad. Why does it feel lower? That's a good question. That's actually pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, Fatal doing the old arena hop. That's what I was doing before, but now I have an Arbiter quest coming up to bring one of the hull bonuses to level 7. I need 700 gold coins for that. Gotta try to stay in gold. Mr. Bandit, don't chew on your leg. Is that a beer in that mug? This one? Nah, it's just water. Nice ice cold water here in Florida. So let's see. My win rate is 77%. That's not too bad. I bet it's dropped like 10%. Are the gold points in Arbiter after the fusion or before? I believe it's after. It's this one that's coming up for me. Affinity bonus to level 7. And past level 6. It requires gold. Gold only. Yeah, that's I'm in the final stages, and I think you have to get them all the way to 10 at some point. Yeah, there's level 8, level 9, 200 classic arena battles, and then level 10. And then you're pretty much done. Yeah, this is the this is the long stretch. This is where I got slowed all the way down, but I got here pretty quick, so it felt all right. That's the next wall. Yep, it's mine too right now. Might be able to beat this team, but I don't think so. We'll give it a try. The old college try. Oh, giant shield set. Not even close. Go Wukong, go. Nope. More talking, less gaming. Yeah. Problem is I'm out of energy unless I want to spend my gems. I'm trying to save enough to make sure I can buy more ancient shards. Am I working on Drex? Drex. I don't know. That depends. Who is Drex? Ah, Drexthar Blood Twin. Yeah. I actually, yesterday was the first time that I stopped to ask whether or not this guy was worth going for. And what I learned is apparently you can only buy 1 shard per day. So I should probably start doing that. But even then, it's going to take 100 days. My mind can't comprehend more than a couple weeks. All right, I'm struggling just to not pull shards over here. They want me to wait 100 days for this guy. It's brutal. But yeah, I should probably start doing that. He would definitely be my HP burn guy. He's worth it. He looks like he's worth it. Yeah, he looks pretty awesome. Again, I think right now the biggest exciting point is next week. We pull those ancient shards. Hopefully, out of like 50 to 60 of them. Fingers crossed we'll get something good.
That would be nice.
Yep. Be very nice.
Speaking of shard, oh, rare. Narhorn.
I think I already have this guy.
You might. He's good though. So he's an AoE provoker. And that is a useful ability, especially in faction crypts, but also you can even use them in spot places. Doom Tower. Just having an AoE CC is super strong.
Yeah.
You actually
I have him 4-star, fully ascended level 40, but
you actually combine him with the free guy from the fusion, Tolog. That's a nice duo of rares there to get you pretty far in faction crypts. And then obviously we all have Wukong, so that's your trio. That forms the core of a really nice faction crypts team.
And Fane.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about Fane.
Yeah, I think Skinwalkers is one of my best factions right now.
Yeah, it's like my second best, I think. Dude, it just passed, right? It was yesterday or the day before, whatever, a couple of days ago. Wukong at 5 stars, well built, crushed the first boss. It wasn't even close. I mean, he destroyed that boss by himself. I was like, okay, that's legit.
Yeah.
And then took me up to, like stage 9 or 10, I think. No, stage 9. Pretty sure it was stage 9. And he's in lifesteal set, but it's just like he hits hard enough, even though he's not built to hit hard.
Man, I'm getting pretty close to the champ.
Your next 6-star?
No, to the
the fusion reward?
Yeah. I need 1,000 more points. But I'm trying not to spend my gems, but then I also don't have any other ways to get energy right now.
Yeah, I'm just spending. I've already spent like 160 gems or something. So I did want to actually, so I want to talk about this for a second. Let me go ahead and move you get. So we talked about Mythic.
Put me in my corner.
Mythic champions and primal shards earlier, and we were saying, one of the things that we don't want to do is we don't want to pull these shards necessarily, like collectively. I mean, we don't want to buy shards, right? We don't want to support the system of current shards. Now, this is our free-to-play account. I know you already pulled a primal shard. I have 2 primal shards today. It is a 2x event, and I have double chances, so 2% legendary and 32% chance for an epic today, and I do have 2 shards.
Do it.
So do you think I should pull?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Let's see what chat says. Does chat think I should pull? Should I pull these 2 shards? I mean, I have a low chance of,
They're going to say no, yeah.
Everybody's saying, well, maybe somebody would be like, you know what? Screw playing him. Throw those shards in the trash. Great Dane wants me to do it because he wants me to get into Brutal Clan Boss. He's been waiting for me. He's like, come on, man. You need to get into Brutal Clan Boss. I'm like, yeah, Bryce says, I have a love-hate relationship with my Wukong when his A2 sheeps at a sliver of life left, and then the champ comes back at half health. It's annoying. We were just talking about that this morning. Yeah. Sly Gaming says, hey, Colred, what's your opinion for my next 6-star for Arena? Wukong or Ronda? I would go with Wukong over Ronda. They're both good champions, but Wukong is more valuable in more places, and his skills are... they both hit hard, so if you want them as nukers, you could go with either one, I guess. She has the lockout, which is really nice. And they join ally attack, but I think Wukong's the better overall champion. Bonduck says, watching you guys made me realize how complicated the early game is. I mean, I've pulled Pythion, Theodore, and Cardiel on the same week that my Kale up to 60. Everything became easy mode since then. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a silly combo of champions.
That'll do it.
Having Pythion and Cardiel on the same account early on, that's like, I mean, those are two cleansers who both put up block debuffs buff. Like, I think they're the only two legendaries who do that combination of skills. They have it in one skill. It's like, it's crazy. And I think there's one epic who does it. But yeah, so you have the two of the three champions in the entire game that do that. Check what you can have in the summon rush. Do it. You need rares and pull primals. Yeah, all right. Pull for apothecary. Everybody says pull. Everybody says pull. We're going to go ahead and pull here. I'm going to take you off the screen. I'm not going to really do this as like I'm not going to do this as a shard pull video. It might end up working its way into a shard pull video, but it's just going to be some shard pull. So this is kind of interesting because this is a 32% chance of pulling an epic or better. So if you do the math on this, I have a better than 50% chance of hitting at least an epic with 2 shards. Now, there are tons of epics I could get value out of, but I was actually thinking about this. I'm like, what do I now need on my account? And I don't really know. I don't know what would give me like significant progress right now. There are tons of champions that would help, but I think if I were to pull a legendary, I would just want a cool legendary that I've never had on any other account. I don't really care what it does. Just a cool legendary that's not useless, that's not void, not Vault Guardian, but preferably one that I've never had before on any account. And that might be hard because I think collectively I've probably had maybe 100 different legendaries at this point. I also don't want a legendary that I'll be desperately like jealous that I don't have on my main account. So like if I pulled Duchess or Kymar or something, I'd be kind of ticked because I want that on my main account. As far as epics are concerned, I don't want Geomancer. If I get Geomancer, I'll rage quit. But otherwise, you know, what would be like a Rector Draft would be cool, or maybe like a Duke the Pierced or a Stag Knight, something like that. That'd be fun. All right, we ready? We all ready? Drum roll, please.
Do it.
Let's see what happens. Color me up. Rare. Quarter here. All right. After all that build up, it's a rare. How about a not rare? How about a not rare? How about just a not rare? Yes, we got an epic. We got a Stag Knight. Hey. Look at that. Oh, hey, he called it again. He called it again. That's stupid. That's incredibly dumb. And awesome. I now have my A1 slow. I love this A1. I love this A1. It's a 2-hitter. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing decreased speed. So it's a 75% chance to land. It hits really hard, by the way. This A1 smacks. The A2 is 100% chance. Actually, this is annoying. It's a 95% chance of decreased defense and decreased attack. So you need to go into the mastery that gives you the, whatever it is, sniper or sharpshooter or whatever gives you that extra 5% to make it 100%. And then he's got this increased accuracy buff on an ally when they get resisted, which is, I don't know, it's interesting. 100 speed, really good stats. Great champion. I mean, fantastic champion. Early Stag Knight.
There you go.
my Bannerlord's faction crypt just got a stud. Like, got a stud carry. Because the great thing about him is he's a support champion, but he will flat out carry your team. Like, he hits hard. You put him in a lifesteal set, and he goes for days. It's great. So now I got to figure out I've got my decrease attack champion. I got to think about this clan boss team really carefully. So the question becomes, do I replace Wukong with Stagnite? I think I do now. I think that's the replacement. Because here's the thing, Wukong removes the increase attack that the clan boss gets, but Stagnite puts a decrease attack out. And if you have an increase attack and a decrease attack, that's better than having nothing for you if you're defensive, right? Because it's less, so plus 50%, minus 50%, they don't cancel themselves out because they're multiplicative. So you end up at 75% because you go from 50% to, you go from 100% to 150% with the increase attack. And then you cut that in half. So you go from 150 to 75%. So it would be reducing the clan boss's damage by 25% rather than just removing the buff. And I think Stagnite, based on the build, probably wouldn't hit quite as hard as Wukong. But it's going to give me 100% uptime on the decreased defense because I've got 2 decreased defense champions now. And you build them nice and tanky, it's going to increase the survivability of the whole team. He's going to be great in dungeons. He's great everywhere. I mean, but he's really great in dungeons because you get that slow on that A1. Fire Knight becomes easier. You know, Spider becomes easier. Ice Golem becomes easier. Doom Tower becomes easier. That's a massive pull. That is a crazy good pull. So I'm going to pull out these 2 champions, and I'm going to have, where's my Stagnite? I'm going to have these 2 champions. So that's what my clan boss team is going to look like in a few days. The question becomes, do I 6-star Stagnite now instead of Frozen Banshee? I already have the decreased defense, but the decreased attack and slow is significant. So I'm going to take one of these to 5-star. I'm going to take the other to 6-star. But these are probably my next 2 6-stars. So I think Wukong's been shoved back yet again. And then again, in a week, I'm going to be pulling like 70 ancient shards. So that's going to be crazy because as soon as I pull all those ancient shards, I'm going to hit on something. So I think all week I've just got to be grinding food. I've got to get like 3 more 6-stars in the next 8 days. That was a crazy good pull. That's not Runekeeper Dazzler high level of pull in terms of like calling your shot and needing a perfect champion. But this was a legitimately good pull. And it was the last champion I named. I think I just have to start doing that. I just have to start naming the champions I want and always end on the right name. Just be like, it would be just really cool to have an Acrizzy on this account. Bing! That would be great. How crazy was it? Okay. All right. I gotta check out the chat here. When are we having a ×2 on Ancients? That is next weekend, so next Friday. I want to summon, yeah. You only have to wait 7 more days, or 6.5. Bryce Plarium likes to give the same buff debuff to one account. I always seem to get Ally Protect, yes. Bless us, RNGesus. Geo, good luck. I got 2 rares. RNGesus. Geo, do you already have a Deacon? I do. Sing says, is that my boy? Hell yeah, Grats. Let's go! Nice, huge. Congrats, one of the best. Grats. Nice. Brutal Clan Boss, here we come, says Sly Gaming. That is true. Icky Ray says, oh, nice. This is the one Colred told me to pair with Syl. I love this one. He's so good. That is a power combo. Syl of the Drakes and Stagnite. They are amazing. Because if you take those 2 champions and you just put them together, first of all, you have 2 A1 slows. and they are different affinities. So you will always have at least one that is neutral. So you'll never have to worry about weak hitting too much. In addition, you have turn meter decrease on Sill's A1. Stagnite brings decreased defense, decrease attack. Scylla the Drake brings an AoE stun. So they're both great for wave content because they impair the waves. They're both relatively tanky. You have the heal. Stagnite gets healed up. That's nice. Keeps him alive. It's a crazy powered duo that's bringing you a lot of what you need, both for bosses and for wave content. It's a great power duo. Yemen says, nice carry for general content. Now get into brutal. It was worth the buildup. I agree. It was worth that buildup. I have a skin, just missing a champ. Lifesteal on Stag. Hold up. Let me go check something real quick. Yeah, Lifesteal on Stag Knight. Why is Shield Guard in there? Shield Guard that's a complicated question. The real question is, how often is Wukong self-res helping your clan boss runs? Once at the very end. He gets me 1 or 2 more turns at the very end and not before. The only other thing that he can potentially help with is he can be the stun target for magic clan boss. But I do have Runekeeper Dazdark who has a cleanse, so I don't really need to worry about the stun if I'm tuned. Which is better, regen or lifesteal? Good question. For clan boss, it's lifesteal. For general content, it's regen, probably. You put him in stun and speed because Huntsman, that's fine. Stun and speed is great. You can build champions in more than one good way. Like, there isn't always just one way to build, and it depends on it, how you're combining those with other champions to make your composition. Stagnite works well in 5 stars. That's true, but additional accuracy and speed on Stagnite are also well worth it. Plus the extra stats to just make them more tanky. So here's I did it again. There's the one. All right. So there is a thing about Stagnite that you want to consider anytime you get Stagnite. He is an attack-based champion, and so he is tanky. Let me click all these red dots before I go insane. I hate these things. Okay. So let me walk you through this just very quickly. Oh, I'm in the wrong account. Everybody's like, what red dots are you talking about? I'm in the wrong account. Sorry about that. All right, so let me walk you through this really quickly. I'm like, why is this lagging so much? It's because I was in my blue stacks. Okay, so if you look at this champion, right, he's a support champion. He's got good HP, almost 21k. So that's very nice HP for an epic support champion, and a little bit over 1,000 defense. He does damage based on attack. So his A1 has really good multipliers and hits really hard, but in order to get a lot of value out of that, you're going to want attack on this champion, and you could potentially even build him with 100% crit rate and some crit damage, and he will do a lot of work for you on his A1 and on his A2. His A2 also hits decently hard. I believe the A1 is godlike on HH Gaming's ratings, and I think that the A2 is either strong or it's definitely at least average. It's not weak. I think it's strong. So he does some work. He's also got great base speed at 107, right? But here's the thing. He's a debuffer, and you want to build debuffers with accuracy, speed, and tankiness so that they're always alive to be able to use their debuffs. So he becomes a stat-hungry monster. If you want to build him with any damage whatsoever, you need crit rate, crit damage, you need accuracy, you still need speed, you need defense and HP, and it's like you need all of those stats on this guy. In early game, that's impossible. So the best thing you can do in the early and mid game is just build him super tanky. And that means he won't hit that hard. He'll do some okay damage for you. But as long as you got him tanky, you got him accurate, you got him fast, he's going to do his job. Now, if you look at a champion like Duke the Pierced, who's basically a carbon copy of Stagnite, this guy's got almost the same kit. Instead of the slow on the A1, he has a decreased accuracy. Same thing as with Stagnite, it's a double hitter. Now, the A2 is exactly the same, has a 100% chance of decrease attack and decrease accuracy, except this is actually, I guess there's one difference. This is not 95%. This is a true 100%. So you don't need to go into the mastery, the sniper mastery or whatever to get this. Now, the decreased defense requires crit, so that's also one other difference, which, so I said exactly the same. It's used exactly the same way. It's not exactly the same. But you do need the crit right here. So again, a little bit of a stat-hungry monster. But you'll notice defensive-based damaging abilities, and you're trying to build both of these guys tanky. Plus, instead of, 1,000 defense, he's got almost 1,400 defense. Less HP for sure, but when you build defense on Duke, he's going to hit harder, and he's going to be more survivable. So this is a slightly better synergy in terms of stats. I think Stag Knight is probably the slightly more versatile champ because of that slow on the A1. But Duke does have a provoke, which makes him a slightly better tank, right? He actually pulls damage towards him, and he's got this reflect damage, which is really nice and works really well with, again, a defensive-based champion. So the one downside to Stag Knight is that he does damage based on attack, and if you're trying to get damage out of him, it's hard to get all the stats that you need onto his, onto his gear. But really, really good champion. Great champion. I'm excited about him. All right, I'm gonna pop these in there, and then let's see. Can I get my 6-star yet? How close am I? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That 1, 2. Let me get into the faction groups. I think now I might have enough to clear some ogre faction groups. I have these two guys at 30. Let's see if that gets me through stage 2. It'll probably get me through stage 1. We'll see. Maybe it won't get me through stage 1. Or stage 2. All right. Frozen Banshee put up a ton of damage. Wait for another champ to 60. Yeah. Yes, Stag helps you in all places while Frozen Banshee is only in Clan Boss. Frozen Banshee is not only in Clan Boss. Frozen Banshee is a good boss damage dealer for any bosses. Okay, I just got stomped apparently in stage 2. So let's go and try stage 1. But the longer the fight, the better she is, right? So that's clearly true. But you could use her against Dragon. You could use her against, some Doom Tower bosses. She is primarily for Clan Boss, absolutely. Whereas Stag Knight is literally in every team champion. So yeah, that is true. He'll get me more progress, but she'll get me the more important progress. Bryce says, yes, Stag will be used everywhere forever. That's also almost true, but not quite forever, because you will eventually replace him once you get up to certain levels. I thought that would be the case, but eventually I replaced my Stag Knight in a couple of places on my second account where I have him. I got him early. He was like, not quite this early, but he was like 60 days in. I got Stag Knight and I put him in and I was like, oh, this guy's great. And he carried me everywhere forever until I finally got, like a bunch of legendaries. I got legendaries who replaced him. Basically. I can't beat this level. Can't beat this level. That's brutal. Frustrating.
Shield.
Yeah, I could put somebody in a shield set. The thing about my shield sets right now is like I've got a lot of. I guess I could probably find a 3-star shield set.
One in a shield set, one in a bolster set. Clear stage 3.
So the only thing about putting this 5-star piece on is it takes more silver to remove a 5-star piece.
Yep. I have a little complete set where I have like 3 or 4 star shield stuff and then health gloves and health boots in the life set.
Yeah, that's nice. It should be, you're right, it should be enough just on its own to get me through. I'm going back to chat. Frozen Banshee will eventually be replaced. That's true. I would suggest 8 days as there is a summon tournament from 6th to the 9th of October. If you call the right champion one more time, I believe this is pre-recorded. Says Mario. That's true. You still don't have a guaranteed 6 stars yet. I assume I'll be waiting for the next ancient 2 times. I have 3 now, pretty much. I have Frozen Banshee, Deacon, and Stag Knight, all of whom need to be 6 stars on this account, I think. Wait, I play on Plarium Play. Am I supposed to play on BlueStacks? No, I play one account on Plarium Play and one account on BlueStacks. This one that you're watching is Plarium Play. Duke does need 100% critical rate. It's true. He's more stat hungry than Stag Knight. I don't know that that's true. You need the same amount of accuracy. If you want Stag Knight to do damage, Stag Knight is more stat hungry. If you don't care if he does stat damage or attack damage, then Duke is more stat hungry. That's true. Right? Because Duke gets damage out of his tankiness by getting defense, whereas Stag Knight would need potentially some attack that Duke doesn't need. That didn't work. Let me go back to stage 1. Let me see if I can get through here. Duke also gets provoke, yes. Wow. So his Duke is actually even more versatile than. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. He has a lot of versatility. The trade-off of the slow on the A1 is really, that's a big trade-off. So Stag Knight has that A1, which is incredibly strong. Duke has the provoke, right? And then he's got a decrease accuracy, I think, which does play in some places. Tributor says, just got my Frozen Banshee to 6 stars, but I got super lucky and pulled a 5-star soul for her. That's nice. Thanks, Plarium. Not going to say that often. That's true. Is Trumbor good for Clan Boss? I think it is, but I always confuse Trumbor and the other guy that's got a similar name. He has an ally protect buff on a 4-turn cooldown. Yeah, you really want that on a 3-turn cooldown. If it's up for 3 turns, that's fine, but... Maxie Musterman says, my Athel is actually more tanky than my Armstrong right now. So I just use her for campaign without Armstrong because he'll die and I lose stars. Yeah, so if you're trying to like 3-star hard campaign or brutal campaign, you can do it solo. You don't need 2 champions.
Yeah, that's what ended up happening to me to finish brutal campaign. Just Kale solo.
Frozen Banshee can get replaced by a lot of people. There are a lot of high-end damage dealers for Clan Boss that you could replace Frozen Banshee with. But Frozen Banshee can actually get you to Ultra Nightmare. One keying Ultra Nightmare with Frozen Banshee is really tricky for 2 reasons. One is because she's an affinity champion, and so there are times when she won't land her debuffs against Force Affinity Boss. And the second thing is she needs her poison sensitivity up in order to land her poisons. So unless you have a debuff extender somewhere in the team, or you have another poison sensitivity, she's not going to really max out as easily. And there are other champions who are just more reliable and don't have that conditional poison. There are also like champions just flat out hit harder. Like my Clan Boss damage dealer on my main is Ninja. He's an HP burner, but he also just hits super hard. So yeah, Sun, you were talking about that. That happened with you in campaign, right?
Yeah.
I think
campaign, and then it happened again in the Scarab boss.
Yeah. That's one of those solutions, is like sometimes you just have to try it. You think more champions is always more powerful, but that's not true. Like sometimes fewer champions can be better, which is weird, but it works.
Yep. That's what matters.
All right, so the shield set is letting me get through stage 1 at least, so I can farm up some materials here, and that'll give me just enough cash when I sell the gear to take this shield set off this guy. Scarab is enraging. Yeah, Scarab is one of those. Because no matter who I throw at him, the one champ that succeeds is Apothecary. Apothecary is good for Scarab. Definitely. Were we on the stream when we were talking about this, that the solution to Scarab is so simple and so frustrating?
Yeah, just earlier.
Yeah. It's like all you need, you just need blood shield rings. Like, just get blood shield accessories. You can only get them from CVCs, and if you don't have them on the right champions, you just have to try again next CVC. And because one only happens every 2 weeks, and because you don't win every one, and because when you do win, you don't always get the blood shield rings that you need, you can wait 3 or 4 months or 5 months to get the blood shield rings on your champions, and by that time, you probably have a better solution for Scarab boss anyway. So it's just one of those things where it's like, if you got lucky and you got the RNG drop that you need, you can clear it the first time out. And you can look at Sun, he's in that situation. Like, he got the rings on just enough champions to be able to get that boss down.
Yep.
Meanwhile, a lot of people are nowhere close to it. I'm certainly not close to it. I'm looking at a potential second solution, a different solution. Let's get you back up in your proper corner. So I pulled a Draconis, and he is a void rare who has a 2-turn shield on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, the new epic, Malkith or whatever his name is, can extend buffs. So potentially, if I get him, I can use him in Draconis, and I can have a 3-turn shield on a 3-turn cooldown. And that might be enough to get me past Scarab boss, but I need those 2 champions, and I probably need them built to maybe 5 stars. And that's a lot for Draconis, because I don't know that I want to keep him long term, but maybe at some point I turn him into a 5-star chicken. So hopefully, maybe after the shard event, if I don't have a better solution for the Scarab boss, so maybe on Saturday or Sunday of next week, I'll start looking for that solution. Assuming I can get this Malkith anyway. Is that his name? I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
Excuse me. Malkith. Yeah, seems
Malkith.
right.
You know what's throwing me off with Malkith and his name is
He looks like Swain.
No. He does look like Swain, though, doesn't he?
That's what it does. That's what's doing it for me.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Swain. But did you ever see Thor: The Dark World? I think it's the second Thor movie where, like, the Dark Elves have the Aether or whatever, and they, like, come to Earth and they start wrecking London.
I'm not sure if I have.
I think the leader of that, the Dark Elves, is like Malekith or something. It's very similar. It's not Malekith, but it's close to it. And so I keep confusing the two, and I'm wondering if, like, that's the name I'm supposed to be saying, or this is the name I'm supposed to be saying. But yeah, this dude definitely looks like Swain. He doesn't have a pirate hat or whatever, but otherwise, he looks a lot like
He's
Swain.
got the bird motif and everything.
Yeah, he's got the bird motif and on the feathered cloak. He doesn't have the I mean, they're not ravens, like they're kind of red as opposed to black, but definitely he's got a Swain vibe going on. Artak and Regen and Immortal can solo Scarab, but it takes 30 minutes. Yep. But sometimes all you care about is getting through and moving on. So Vergis can solo him, yes. Hey, Colred, it's Mince. I just got my Vizix and Skrank to 6 stars as your advice in the last takeover. It's time to decapitate some heads. Well, good luck with that. I hope that helps you in Hydra Boss, because Skrank is great damage dealer. You've got Vizix now, so you've got your AoE provoke, your AoE slow. Just make sure you've got the gear and the team to keep her alive, because that ally protect that she puts out can kill her off pretty quickly. The Fatal Virus says, okay, I made it with Apothecary and Sepulcher with attack, blood, shield, rings. There you go. That's what you need. Oh, Sinks, you said who in Draconis? Malkith. Yeah. Malkith extends the buffs. Maxie says, I got a random tier 4 chicken and 400k silver and tons of random resources from going to the limited series from the menu, where you can also find the promo code thingy.
Call of the Arbiter.
Yeah, they just gave a gift for 4 years. Like, there was a 4-year anniversary gift just 2 days ago, maybe.
No, he's talking about the Call of the Arbiter series.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Where you could, every video you got free stuff.
Since when does Swain have a pirate hat? Doesn't Swain have some kind of hat?
I believe so.
You know what? His old character model might have had a hat, and his new character model doesn't. They did a visual rework for him, right?
Yeah, they did.
So I'm going to have to look at Swain. Yeah, so he doesn't have... You're right, he doesn't have a hat. But I think he used to have a hat.
I don't think he had a hat. I think he had, like, hat-like hair.
Or a helmet?
No, he never had a helmet.
Let's see.
Maybe in some skins.
Swain character. Because he was part of the Bilgewater crew. He was like a pirate. He had a bird and a cane. No, he had like a scarf that went around his face, I guess. He didn't have you're right, he didn't have a pirate hat. But he had all the other pirate garb, but not the pirate hat.
I know he had hats and skins, that's for sure.
But he had like a scarf or like a face mask. But you're right, no pirate hat. My bad. He's a Noxian general. Sure, he wasn't Bilgewater. Or maybe he just had a Bilgewater skin.
No, he was. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, he was a Noxian. Out of energy again.
All right, well, the good news is I just cleared out the Ogren faction crypt, so now I can convert those guys to chicken. But I was thinking about holding on to one of them. I think I was thinking about. I shouldn't. We're pulling 60 ancient shards or something next week. I don't need any of these champions, probably. Yeah, 50k to remove all of those. That's all right. Yeah, let's get in here and upgrade these chickens. All right, so I'm gonna use the potion trick, the bruise trick for now. I'm just gonna keep doing that. Get some points. But when I get to 100 brews, I'll stop. I'm not gonna go past 100 brews.
I stopped at 0 brews.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to drop below 100.
Hey, for the one-man defenses in arena.
Yeah, right? Everybody should be doing that. And for some reason, I chose all Magic champions. Okay, I do want to go try this again. I kind of don't care. Whatever. Okay.
Got to get them done at some point.
Okay.
Ooh.
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'm running out of Magic brews here, so. All right, so where's my 4-star food? There's one. All right, there's another 5-star chicken. That's chicken number 3, I think.
There you go.
1, 2, 3. So I have one more I can turn into a 5-star chicken. That would be number 4. And then I still have to grind up. Looks like 2 more, maybe 3 more 3-stars. But I can do that off of chickens. I have plenty of 3-star chickens. So I can do that as well. Sorry, I've had him in the wrong corner though.
You might as well take me off. I've got nothing left. You're the only one that's got anything going on at this point.
Well, we're going to get these upgraded. So we're almost there. Let's see. It would be one more 5-star chicken we need. We've got this Hellfang. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to need at least one more. But let me just make sure about my food. So those are 2 5-star chickens. I got a third 5-star chicken. So I need 2 more 5-star chickens. But I will probably take, so I've got one here, and I will probably take this guy. Probably take this satyr and turn him into food too, because I haven't put anything into him. I can just take that gear off of him. I think this might be a decent piece. Yeah, it's not a bad piece. I don't think I care about, oh, that's not too bad. I might save all that gear. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to keep grinding for the rest of the day, I guess. Let's see how we did on the tournament. Champion training tournament. We got the next reward. So I'm up over 2,000 points, 2,034, and I am in 5th place. Now, if I get to the 5,000, the point, becomes like, do you just grind another 4,500 and go all the way up and get the epic tome? I mean, the legendary tome. Like, is that just worth it to go for? And the answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
Like, the answer is probably yes. If I can get the energy, I would probably give away all of the other rares in this fusion. Like, once I get this one rare, I would happily trade all of the other rares to go and get this legendary tome. I don't want to trade away the Malekith. I kind of want the Malekith. So that's going to be the question: is will I have enough resources to go out and get everything else while this is going on? And the dungeon divers is going to be kind of interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with the dungeon divers. Oh, I got some energy here in the summon rush. That's nice. Some gems.
Oh, because you pulled the primals.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what? I think I got a soul stone here. I'm going to pull it. See if I get anything. I got a legendary. I got a legendary soul. A 1-star Tatsu perfect soul. You know how many soul stones I pulled on my main without getting a single legendary? It's over 150. I haven't pulled a legendary in like 150. Like crazy. Yeah, I'm never going to be able to awaken her, but how much can you sell that for? 7.
Not that much.
No. All right. All right, so let's check in with chat one last time. We're about to call it a night, I think. That's Gangplank. Gangplank has the pirate's hat. Yeah. Bryce said, I got my bellower to 60. Thanks for the advice. Makes food farming much better. I also pulled my Skrank to push my Skrank to 60 today. Also working on his scrolls at the moment. Yeah, just having a campaign farmer that's at like 6-7 seconds makes life so much better. It really does. In terms of the fusion, are you more into the fusion or the champs that build into it? For this particular one on this account, I'm not going for the main fusion. On my main account, I haven't decided yet. I may still go for the fusion. If not, I don't care about any of the other champions on my main account. But on this free-to-play account, all of the rares and both epics are viable. I think Malekith is the slightly better epic. He's probably going to be more universally usable. And then out of the rares, I think the two best ones are the longsword guy from the Knights Revenant, and then the high elf HP burn champion. She's very good because rare HP burn champions are not common, and she is already the best HP burn in the rarity. So, and as Void, you don't have to worry about weak hits, so she's going to apply it all the time. So she's very good, and she's going to combo really well with like Artak or another HP burner because she can do that extension. She can, extend those HP burns. So, all right, so son, I think that's it for us today.
Yeah, I think that is it. Dusty asked, did you get anything cool from the primals? He got the Stag Knight.
I got the Stag Knight. I did get to the Stag Knight. So we've been talking, and we're thinking about potentially switching our Friday stream to a Saturday stream. We may be doing that. Instead of doing Tuesdays and Fridays, we may switch it up and do Tuesdays and Saturdays. We haven't 100% decided on that. But I think having a weekend stream would be nice because it would offer the opportunity for more people to come see the stream, because this is during a work day. So a lot of people can't see the stream live. Some people watch it, on demand, I guess. But so we have talked about that a little bit. What do you think? What do you think the likelihood of switching that is? I think it's pretty high.
I think it's pretty high.
It's pretty high. So this may be the last Friday Noob versus Pro. We're not 100% sure. But next week we may switch to Saturday. So keep your eyes out for any announcements in terms of changes in the schedule. We'll put those in the description or the about section of the YouTube page, and it'll also be posted in Discord if we decide to change the schedule. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Smash that like button. Smash the like.
Hit the like button.
Subscribe to the channel. Join our Discord community. Yeah, and thanks for hanging out, everybody. You want to say goodbyes?
Have a good one, everybody.
You were supposed to do something like, hey, that's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? All
yeah,
right,
well,
peace.
you know, just another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. All right. Stay strong.